Across Scotland should start to ease a little bit as we move through the rest of the evening into the early hours, but icy stretches forming quite widely, temperatures well below freezing by 5 o'clock. Further wintry showers across Northern Ireland, a little drier across northern parts of England, but a few wintry showers still possible. And again, across the rest of England and Wales, the risk of some sleet and snow showers and icy stretches as widely temperatures will be below freezing. And they will continue to fall as we head overnight into Tuesday morning. Clear skies for many, but the risk of a few wintry showers still possible. And then a band of rain, sleet and snow will move in across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland during the early hours. Met Office warnings remain in force for snow and ice, temperatures widely again below freezing. So a very cold and icy start to Tuesday morning. Outbreaks of sleet and snow across Northern Ireland and Scotland continuing through the day here. Further accumulations of snow, particularly over the higher ground. Elsewhere, generally drier, best of the sunshine across central southern parts of England. But another cold feeling day for most of us, with temperatures really struggling to rise much above freezing. Just signs of something towards the far southwest of a little milder air trying to move in.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for helping us reach 10 million followers across social media. We are truly honoured to have your trust, one follower at a time.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. On the M77 northbound at Junction 2, the slip road is restricted after a broken down vehicle. On the M4 eastbound at Junction 33 near Capel Lanilturn, congestion is building on the off-slip. In Cheshire, the M53 southbound between Junction 4 and Junction 8 is slow with lengthy queues. In the West Midlands, the M5 northbound at Junction 3 has lane closures following a crash, with delays still growing. In Oxfordshire, the M40 southbound between Junction 8A and Junction 6 has 2 lanes closed after an accident. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast and Cross Country report disruption. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Thank you, Matt. Let's hear now from the King.
This is a season when our thoughts turn to celebrations with our friends and families. In the midst of this festive period, I just wanted to ask you to join me today in finding a special place in your hearts and your minds and prayers for the hundreds of thousands of people across our United Kingdom who receive a cancer diagnosis each year, and for the millions more who love and care for them. I know from my own experience that a cancer diagnosis can feel overwhelming. Yet I also know that early detection is the key that can transform treatment journeys, giving invaluable time to medical teams and to their patients the precious gift of hope. These are gifts we can all help deliver. Throughout my own cancer journey, I've been profoundly moved by what I can only call the community of care that surrounds every cancer patient. The specialists, the nurses, researchers and volunteers who work tirelessly to save and improve lives. But I have also learned something that troubles me deeply. At least 9 million people in our country are not up to date with the cancer screenings available to them. When bowel cancer is caught at the earliest stage, around 9 in 10 people survive for at least 5 years. When diagnosed late, that falls to just 1 in 10. Early diagnosis quite simply saves lives.
All too often, people will be sitting at home watching a press conference live, and they'll hear loads of questions being asked, and they'll be thinking, that's not my question, that's not my concern.
We don't care whose feathers we ruffle. We ask the questions that you want answering.
You're all standing on the street protesting and want to have an open discussion.
My name's Patrick Christie's. I do a show for GB News in the UK.
Is it possible to talk to you quickly?
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, this is the best view ever of Whitehall, looking out across all the tractor drivers of England who've come together to make their point.
Hello, so as you can see, I'm here in Westminster as the protest begins.
Yes, I'm very much in the thick of it.
Look, we're challenging narratives here at GBNews, and that's what sets us apart.
Good morning. First one for me of the new year. So happy new year to you. Monday the 5th of January. It's 9:30 live across the UK. Britain's Newsroom with Andrew Pearce. Turner.
Hello, happy new year to you. Now, Donald Trump doubles down this morning on America's control of Venezuela.
Don't ask me who's in charge because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
Because we're in charge.
The US president threatens Venezuela's new leader with a fate worse than the ousted Nicolas Maduro if she doesn't do what's right. He's targeting Colombia next.
Colombia is very sick too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States, and he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
So Marco Rubio and his team may not agree with him, but Trump is hinting that other countries might meet the same fate. He's hitting out at drug trafficking Colombia. He's also, apparently, looking at Danish territory.
We need Greenland for national security. And if you take a look at Greenland, you look up and down the coast, you have Russian and Chinese ships all over the place.
So that's Trump claiming he needs Greenland for defence purposes as Denmark's Prime Minister, they own Greenland, urges him to stop making threats to take over his territory.
We will stop this. We will smash the gangs.
I will do whatever it takes to secure our borders.
So this is the news you've all been waiting for. The boats are going to stop now because border officers are going to take away migrants' mobile phones without arrest. Apparently it will allow them to gather intelligence in the latest crackdown on channel smugglers. Will that work?
Well, the government admits it's not a silver bullet, but they think that every little helps. But is it just tinkering around the edges?
Things have been tough in Britain for a while. For many, life is still harder than it should be.
Where was his tie? New year, new Kia. The Prime Minister sets out his strategy for 2026, but will it be enough to keep him in the top job?
And wrap up warm. Britain is being hit by freezing temperatures, widespread ice warnings. People are returning to work, of course, and school after the holidays. I hope you managed to de-ice your car this morning.
And secret cash stash. Find out why 1 in 7 pensioners admit hiding £50,000 or more from their other half. Well, I'm going to say what you're all thinking, watching and listening. What are you doing here?
I heard you had £50,000 of cash. I'm here to find it.
I'm not a pensioner yet. Isn't there a big story going on in the United States where you are Queen of all you survey, having interviewed up the President of the United States, no less?
So, Late Show Live is back this evening from London for this week. Ben Leo was here, of course, this morning. He's going to be back in DC on Thursday. I'm going to be on your telly at midnight tonight as well. But they offered me, Andrew, the opportunity to be here with you today because Miriam's off working. How could I say no?
You said, God, what a terrible way to start the new year. The old rivalry, the old on-air chemistry back.
Well, let me tell you, talking about New Year, the reason I'm here is because this was a prize, Andrew, depending on who won this arm wrestle. Right, come on.
Yes.
Don't be kind. Don't be kind.
Battle of the...
Andrew Pearce, I hope you're watching.
The winner.
Are you an athlete?
Oh,
No!
Miriam Beth, wait.
Are we
The winner
ready?
gets a date with Andrew Pearce.
Oh.
No, come on! No, that's ignore him.
If I win, I can have my job back. No. Right, ready, go.
Sit up. One of them gets to do Ben Leo's underwear. Pass off the table. That's cheating. Wow, look at this.
She's we couldn't hear why her arms are longer. It's not fair.
Continue reading. Look. Oh, Are we going to have to call a draw? Is it?
I don't mind admitting that was the New Year's Eve show, if you're wondering. You can watch it on the GB News website to catch up on it, but I know she would have won.
Right.
She let me win. She let us do a draw. She would have won. Miriam would have won.
Yeah, and Miriam is actually off doing another story somewhere else, isn't she? So
She is.
great to be back with Bev, because remember, this is where Britain's Newsroom started. But of course, it's even better to have it this week because of what is happening in Venezuela and across the pond. Donald Trump reasserting yet again after, how old is this year? Are we 4 or 5 days old? He is the dominant figure on the world stage.
Absolutely, unapologetically, of course.
And they can wring their hands with despair over the fact he's almost certainly broken international law, but one of the worst, most appalling presidents in the world is now going to be faced, quite rightly, criminal charges over the money he's making out of an illegal drugs trade.
Yeah, we'd love to know what you think about this morning. What do you think is really going on? It's about China, isn't it? It's about oil, it's about global dominance. Has it got anything really to do with narcotics? Get in touch, gbnews.com/your say. All this after the news with Sophia Hill.
Very good morning. The latest headlines just after 9:30. Sir Keir Starmer faces a revolt as MPs demand he condemns the US's attack on Venezuela. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has issued a stark warning to Venezuela's interim leader, urging her to comply with his wishes. Elsewhere, Sir Keir Starmer is making a direct pitch to voters, promising to ease the cost of living squeeze and insisting that families will start to feel real change under Labour in 2026. Border powers toughen as new laws on phone grabbing take effect. From today, officers can seize mobile phones and SIM cards from migrants without making an arrest, aiming to crack down on people smugglers behind channel crossings. The Danish Prime Minister has urged Donald Trump to stop threatening to take over Greenland after he reiterated his wish to acquire it, saying it makes absolutely no sense and that the US has no right to annex any nations in the Danish kingdom. And take care today as winter bites back just as the country clocks back on. Sub-zero temperatures and a web of snow and ice warnings are causing disruption, with amber alerts covering much of northern Scotland. Those are the headlines for now, and more on those stories at the top of the hour.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB Digital Radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
She's back. Well, she never left, of course, because she's been doing a rather clever show from the United States. But great to have Bev in the studio this week because, by God, it was jaw-dropping. What happened at the weekend, jaw-dropping. I know we can go all the way back to 1989 and George Bush's administration getting Noriega out of Panama, but that seems a long time ago. And, of course, he may not have ended there.
No, and everybody is looking at this situation and bringing their own interpretation to it as to what is actually going on. Of course, if you weren't across the news at the weekend, maybe you were taking down your Christmas decorations and maybe getting ready to go back to work this morning or get the kids to do their homework. It was that weekend, wasn't it? Well, Nicolas Maduro and his wife, of course, were captured. They were detained on drugs and weapons charges.
Weren't they?
Well,
on their way to a panic room?
Apparently so. But you see, I have my suspicions. You look at these pictures, and in fact, we've got more pictures. We've got Maduro here. Apparently, it looks like he's got his underpants on his head. I don't know what kind of hat that is. But there's pictures of him with his handcuffs on. He's got his thumbs up. I do believe there was a conversation, there was a deal done behind the scenes. We're going to take you. You're going to come under our terms. We're going to present all of these pictures to the world of how America is strong. And let's face it, America is strong, and you're going to collaborate and you're going to cooperate with us. He's in court today, of course, in New York on these drugs and weapons charges. With his wife.
And his son.
Absolutely. But for me, Andrew, and this is what's so interesting coming back to the UK, because Ben Leo and I have been following this situation in Venezuela so closely.
It's not come as a surprise to you,
has it? It's not come as a surprise because they've been bombing the Venezuelan boats, the drug boats, those people bringing drugs from Venezuela to America since September. And then that tension has been building up around that area. They had sent a naval fleet out there.
Yeah.
They seized a huge oil tanker.
They did.
And also, Maduro had actually said to Trump a few weeks ago, give me $200 million and I'll come quietly.
Yeah.
There's been conversations going on behind the scenes that this is going to happen. Now, China and oil is really behind this.
Because that's where China buys its cheap oil.
So
From Venezuela.
Yeah, Venezuela.
And it needs oil because it's got that massive economic machine, manufacturing machine. They don't give a hoot about global warming. They're producing more and more rubbish that too many people buy.
Yeah.
But it's in all our shops, all around the world.
And for 20 years, China has got Venezuela in a stranglehold.
Yeah.
Venezuela is $60 billion in debt to China, and they pay China back by basically almost free oil.
Yeah.
And this really is going to be the war of the 21st century, is going to be who has the most oil, especially with data centres.
Yeah.
So much technology now takes so much power and so much fuel required.
Well,
and
AI, very expensive, isn't it?
Exactly.
Oil.
But also, Venezuela, China is so deeply embedded in Venezuela's infrastructure. They have the contracts to rebuild the infrastructure, to rebuild the ports in Venezuela. China's funding all that in collaboration with the government. Now, who are China now having to provide services to? America.
Yeah.
And so it's a genius geopolitical move by Donald Trump.
It is. And it's going to... And it's destabilised that part of the world, not least because overnight he's talked about Greenland. Well, that comes under the aegis of Denmark, which is part of NATO.
Yeah, well, I don't think for a second he'll go and try and invade Denmark.
But maybe Colombia.
Possibly Colombia. I mean, if we're meant to believe this is all about drugs, he'd be going after Mexico. They get more drugs from Mexico than they do from Venezuela. And he hasn't done that. Why? Because Mexico isn't quite at the behest of China and Russia in the way that Venezuela is.
Let's talk to a guest here. Ivan Briscoe is the Senior Director for Policy at the International Crisis Group. Ivan Briscoe, good morning. Does anything Donald Trump do surprise you anymore?
I think we were taken aback by what happened on Saturday morning. It was audacious. We knew something was happening. It was going to happen with regard to Venezuela. Of course, you've had the massive naval deployment from September. You have the largest aircraft carrier in the world prowling the waters in the Caribbean. You have all manner of threats. You've had all manner of threats coming from officials. And so there was a lot of speculation. Would there be an attack on some military facilities? Would there be an attempt to decapitate by force the leading lights of the Chavista regime in Venezuela? Would there be other operations of that sort? But something like what we saw on Saturday, a very audacious, very sophisticated operation to extract Maduro and his wife and take them to the courts in the United States. I don't think any of us bargained on that. We didn't think that was possible. We assumed that there was a ring of security around Maduro, which would make it impossible for the United States, US forces to break through.
Ivan, doesn't that mean it was an inside job? Sorry to interrupt. Doesn't that mean there must have been some inside help?
Yes, well, I mean, clearly there was, because as Trump said in his press conference on Saturday, there was a CIA operation in the country from September onwards, and that they had assets on the ground inside the military who guided them and knew, so that they knew exactly what Maduro's movements were, where he stayed at night, and they could track what was going on. But it was interesting. I mean, the Cuban government confirmed yesterday that 32 Cuban troops were killed in the US operation. They formed the ring, the security perimeter around Maduro. We've known this for some time, and obviously there was an extensive firefight. So I don't think it was exactly that everybody was prepared and they just let Maduro go. There was significant fighting going on, but there was information being leaked to the United States, clearly.
And to what extent, Ivan, do you think this does breach international law? He was designated, Maduro, a terrorist. The charges were brought against him in 2020 originally. And so that's the justification from the American administration. This was an intelligence and a security step they had to take. They've been at pains to say, we're not at war with Venezuela. We were arresting people.
Yes, I mean, it's the same justification which was used to nab Noriega at the start of 1990, which is this: we were providing military support for a law enforcement operation. The arm of the US law can be applied anywhere. And if a suspect is brought to court in the United States, then the court will not ask too many questions about how that was done. So that's the basis which Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, has used to justify the operation. But I mean, clearly there is a violation of sovereign territory going on. It's very hard to make this operation comply in any way with the terms of the UN Charter. There was no consent, obviously, from the Venezuelan government for this to happen, or not any that we know of. It's hard to see it as an act of self-defense. Maduro was not about to attack the United States. So, I mean, on those bases, it's hard to see it complying with international law, although the United States will say, well, we're doing it according to our own legal needs. So international law be damned. And obviously, when they debate the issue at the UN Security Council later today, there will be no vote condemning the United States because the United States will veto any attempt to do so.
But it doesn't just begin to make you wonder what is the point of the United Nations, Ivan, because China and Russia will, of course, be very furious and will jump up and down with indignation. I imagine Britain, knowing our Prime Minister, will probably abstain. If, in the unlikely event there was a vote, Britain will abstain. Because if the United States, which is the major contributor to the United Nations, doesn't give a fig about the rules of international law and certainly doesn't care what the UN think, what's the point of it?
Well, the United Nations and the UN Security Council in particular have been in a state of paralysis for a number of years over the main conflicts in the world. I mean, First of all, Ukraine, then Gaza, and in all likelihood, this situation in Venezuela. But I think at the same time, neither the United States nor Russia nor China necessarily want to see all international law ditched. They want to invoke international law when it's convenient to them. And when it's inconvenient to them, they would prefer not to see it applied, and if necessary, use their veto on the Security Council. So we will see the theatrics of a debate at the Security Council. I'm sure we'll see China and Russia being quite indignant, just as they were when Trump applied maximum pressure on Venezuela 6 or 7 years ago in 2019. But the result will be almost certainly irrelevant.
OK, Ivan, thank you so much. Ivan Briscoe there, the Senior Director for Policy at the International Crisis Group.
I mean, we know Trump's contemptuous of organisations.
He hates the UN.
Of course he does.
He thinks it's absolutely pointless. He thinks it's a talking shop that costs America money.
Said, paralysis over Ukraine, a paralysis over Gaza. What does it do?
The question is, weak, despotic leaders sitting atop of plentiful oil.
Yeah.
Who do we want in charge of those countries? Do you want Xi Jinping and Beijing controlling that? Or do you want President Trump controlling that? I know my answer to that question from my point of view. And I think the people feel the same way, the Venezuelan people. But let us know what you think.
Well, also, they might actually get some revenue coming in if they can start flogging their oil.
Well, exactly.
As opposed to giving it away to China.
Yeah.
Because that will stop overnight. Now, still ahead, there's going to be a revolt within the Labour Party because quite a lot of Labour MPs, on the left in particular, were rather fans of Mr Maduro, who's now in a jail in New York.
Do they have any idea what they're cheering on? Up next, find out the genius plan the government have to stop the people smuggling gangs. Basically, it's what you do to your kids if they misbehave. First, though, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's a forecast for some of our top European holiday destinations.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. If you're after some warmer weather, Greece at the moment seeing temperatures above average. Still the risk of some showers across the Canary Islands at the moment and parts of Madeira. Perhaps southern Spain also seeing 1 or 2 showers, but generally some bright skies around. Heavier rain for parts of Italy on Tuesday. Could be thundery at times, and then the risk of some showers into Greece, but temperatures well above average for the time of year. And it remains so here for the next few days until eventually starting to cool down.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, weekdays from 9 p.m.
You that every one of those tickets will be sold. Guaranteed.
I guess they
because
will.
There'll be a corporate ticket, you know, that's the thing. So there'll be corporate organisations that buy the tickets en masse. Is that the ticket price from FIFA for the game, or is that the up ticket?
That's the legit price. Yeah, that's before the scalping happens. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The cheapest tickets for the final in the USA now cost more than £3,000.
But then, if you look at Wimbledon, how much Wimbledon is for a final, it's just absolutely extreme. And you know, so you are completely knocking out the mainstream fan, and just you've got the elite.
I mean, it's a bit of a contrast to Qatar, where the prices weren't that high. Obviously, a bit tricky to, you know, not cheap to get there, but not cheap to get to the States either. But obviously, for Qatar, it was about putting yourself on the world sporting map and using it as diplomacy. Whereas in the States, it's about making the dollar.
Well, I can also just say that they've got the Pride match. It's going to be played at the World Cup. It's in Seattle, and it's against it's Iran versus Egypt.
So both of them have asked for it not to be the Pride match.
Both of them have asked not to be. But the only other teams, the only other game in that group that they could use as the Pride match is the USA versus Australia, and they can't because that's also their dedicated anti-slavery match. Yeah, so it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Are any of them themed around?
Can't they swap them round?
well, still that doesn't work, does it? Because of the other two nations.
Yeah, I think that's worse.
Like Iran, I don't know, they're still a bit slavey, aren't they?
Can't they just put football?
Modern slavery is an issue across the world.
Yeah. But I just I don't know, it just cracks me up. Like, why? So we've got. Why are we doing any of this?
It should just be...
But also then stop, if you care so much about these issues, stop giving World Cups. Like in 2036, it's in Saudi Arabia, which does have modern slavery and kills gay people.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, though. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Bev for one morning only while Miriam is off doing some work. And you're thrilled, aren't you, Andrew?
Delighted. Delighted. It was a very pleasant surprise. And also because, of course, these extraordinary stories broken over the weekend with Trump's, an amazing military operation. They've snatched a president and his wife, literally from what was supposed to be a safe house.
Yeah.
They're going to be in court in New York in a few hours' time. So we'll be grateful for your insights. And you, like me, Bev, are reeling from the revelation of this Labour government's fantastic new policy to smash the gangs. Catherine Forster can tell us all about it. Catherine.
Yes, indeed. So from now, the government's borders bill has legally come into force. So as of now, when migrants make that crossing across the Channel and they go to the Manston detention centre in Kent, they will apparently now have their mobile phones or any electronic devices seized. And the idea is that the government will then download the data and it will help them to smash the gangs.
Oh,
so
my word.
So it's taken them till now to think to do that. All the information that's on that phone, which country they've come from, the gang they probably bought their place on the boat from. It's been a treasure trove of information. The last Tory government was just as bad, but this lot have been in for 19 months and it's only taken till now.
Well, yes, I mean, they said that this has taken months in going through Parliament, but it's finally law. But yes, I think most people will be astonished to hear that that doesn't happen already. Of course, we know it doesn't happen because we see the TikTok videos used as an advert of migrants in their nice hotel rooms saying, look at me, I've got this, you know, come over. It's great. The government are admitting it's not a silver bullet, obviously, but they will argue that every little helps.
Brilliant.
Well,
Thank you, Catherine. We're going to be talking about that a bit later. Now, there's a yellow snow alert.
Oh, good.
Now, yellow
does that
snow
mean?
used to mean something different when you got warned about yellow snow a few years ago, but now it means just be careful, everybody. It's cold out there. Here's your weather.
Who'd have thought it in January?
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Another bitterly cold start to the day. Widespread frost and ice across the country. Some difficult travelling conditions through the day as further snow is expected. Heavy snow showers continue across northern Scotland and amber Met Office warning out for the snow here this morning. Elsewhere, yellow snow and ice warnings as we see further snow showers push south across the country. In between, there will be some sunny spells, but it will be a bitterly cold day for everyone. Temperatures really struggling to rise much above freezing. Some places staying below freezing all day, so expect icy stretches wherever you are. Into the evening time, we'll see further snow showers pushing southwards, though the snow showers across Scotland should start to ease a little bit as we move through the rest of the evening into the early hours. But icy stretches forming quite widely, temperatures well below freezing by 5 o'clock. Further wintry showers across Northern Ireland, a little drier across northern parts of England, but a few wintry showers still possible. And again, across the rest of England and Wales, the risk of some sleet and snow showers and icy stretches as widely temperatures will be below freezing. And they'll continue to fall as we head overnight into Tuesday morning. Clear skies for many, but the risk of a few wintry showers still possible. And then a band of rain, sleet and snow will move in across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland during the early hours. Met Office warnings remain in force for snow and ice, temperatures widely again below freezing. So a very cold and icy start to Tuesday morning. Outbreaks of sleet and snow across Northern Ireland and Scotland continuing through the day here. Further accumulations of snow, particularly over the higher ground. Elsewhere, generally drier, best of the sunshine across central southern parts of England. But another cold feeling day for most of us, with temperatures really struggling to rise much above freezing. Just signs of something towards the far southwest, of a little milder air trying to move in.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News every week.
You're not only watching and listening to our programmes, you're becoming part of them too.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. On the M90 southbound, expect restrictions between Junction 1C and Junction 1B after a live lane breakdown. In Lancashire, the A59 westbound at the junction with the M57 is slow moving with around 10 minutes of congestion. In Staffordshire, the M6 northbound between Junction 14 and Junction 15 has a lane closed after a crash. In Oxfordshire, the M40 southbound between Junction 8A and Junction 6 is down to one lane following a collision. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast has disruption on some routes, while cross-country is disrupted in northern Scotland. And between Cambridge and Ely, for more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Hello from the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland. We're on an amazing Arctic adventure to celebrate our greatest cash giveaway, a simply stunning £85,000.
And in 2026, we're giving you the chance to win it all.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News. Week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's 10 a.m. on Monday, the 5th of January, live across the United Kingdom. This is Britain's Newsroom with Andrew Pearce and Bev Turner. She's back. Just for today.
Donald Trump doubling down on America's newfound control of Venezuela.
Don't ask me who's in charge because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
It's, we're in charge.
Overnight, the US president threatens Venezuela's new leader with a fate worse than the ousted leader Nicolas Maduro if she doesn't do what's right, he said. And some people are saying that he's now targeting Colombia.
Colombia is very sick too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States, and he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
Trump hinting other countries might meet the same fate as he hits out at drug trafficking in Colombia. He's also looking at Danish territory.
We need Greenland for national security. And if you take a look at Greenland, you look up and down the coast, you have Russian and Chinese ships all over the place.
That's very old footage, though, just to be clear.
Well, the Danish Prime Minister has said that the US has no right to annex any of the Danish kingdoms, but it comes after the wife of a Trump aide. She posted on X a photo of Greenland covered in the US flag with the caption, "Soon."
We will stop this. We will smash the gangs.
I will do whatever it takes to secure our borders.
Wow, guess what? Border officers are now going to be able to seize small boats' migrants' phones without arrest when they arrive here illegally to gather intelligence in a new crackdown on channel smugglers. You might have thought they'd been happening already.
Things have been tough in Britain for a while. For many, life is still harder than it should be.
Is it a new year, new Keir? Well, don't hold your breath. He didn't even wear a tie. You're outraged about that, aren't you, Andrew Pearce? Now, the Prime Minister set out his strategy for 2026, but is it enough to keep him in the top job?
Doubt it. And wrap up warm in nanny state Britain because we've been hit by freezing temperatures, ice warnings as people turn to school and work after the holidays. It is January after all.
We're here in snowy Scarborough as temperatures have plummeted across the UK. There's warnings for snow in place across Scotland with an amber alert in place, and across the rest of the UK there's yellow warnings for snow and ice.
Do you have amber warnings in America for snow and ice?
I don't know. Do they have? They probably do a little bit, but there's certainly not this same. How would you describe it? This sense of worry for your well-being. There's sort of an idea that you can probably think for yourself. I know that's old-fashioned.
Yeah.
It's certainly not what Keir Starmer likes.
Sort of wrap up warm, maybe put some wellies on, leave the house with an umbrella, gloves or something, and be careful on the road.
Tell you what, though, I forgot my glasses this morning because I was de-icing the car, so I've had to borrow them from Dean in the office. Nothing changes.
The car. There we are.
De-icing the car. Have you been de-icing this morning, everybody?
And are you reassured to know there's an amber warning? Was it a yellow warning?
Yellow snow. Avoid yellow snow. I've been telling you that for years, though, Andrew Pearce.
Right, okay.
GBNews.com/You're Safe. First, though, the news with Sophia Hill.
Bev, thank you, and a very good morning. It's just gone 10 o'clock. These are your latest headlines. Top stories. Keir Starmer faces a revolt as MPs demand he condemns the US's attack on Venezuela. The Prime Minister has refused to call the capture of President Nicolas Maduro an illegal act in breach of international law. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has issued a stark warning to Venezuela's interim leader, urging her to comply with his wishes. The US leader has threatened a fate worse than ousted Maduro's if she doesn't do what's right. Maduro is facing weapons and drugs charges in New York after he was captured by US forces over the weekend and is set to appear in court today. An emergency UN Security Council meeting is scheduled for 3 o'clock this afternoon, while at home the Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper is expected to lay out the government's response to the capture in the House of Commons. GB News spoke to Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State for Migration and Citizenship, Mike Tapp, about the attack earlier.
Really important for the Venezuelan people that this dictator has been removed. You know, he arrested political dissidents, he tortured, he used sexual violence. Venezuela is safer without him. What we need now is a peaceful, safe transition and democratic transition for the Venezuelan people. And we're really clear that this country, the very foundations of this country, are international law and rules-based system, and that hasn't changed.
Keir Starmer is making a direct pitch to voters, promising to ease the cost of living squeeze and insisting that families will start to feel real change under Labour in 2026. After a bruising year of poor polls and leadership speculation, the Prime Minister is doubling down on his position, rejecting calls to stand aside and arguing that constant leadership churn only breeds chaos. He's also warning would-be Labour rivals that destabilising his leadership now risks doing one thing above all, handing power straight to Nigel Farage. And take care today as winter bites back just as the country clocks back on. Sub-zero temperatures and a web of snow and ice warnings are causing disruptions as millions return to work and school, with amber alerts covering much of northern Scotland. Hundreds of schools have been shut and flights cancelled as weather warnings remain in force, with snow bringing much disruption. Forecasters warn of heavy snowfall, dangerous travel conditions and rural communities potentially being cut off, while health officials urge people to check in on the elderly and vulnerable. Elsewhere, border powers toughen as new laws on phone grabbing take effect today. From today, officers can seize mobile phones and SIM cards from migrants without making an arrest, aiming to crack down on people smugglers behind channel crossings. The government says that the measures will speed up intelligence gathering, while critics argue this offers cosmetic change without a real deterrent. Shadow Minister of State for Illegal Immigration, Crime and Policing, Matt Vickers, told GB News that this was just tinkering around the edge.
People who break into this country, who come in illegally, without permission, without the passport, who have no right to be here, should be removed. That's how you solve this. Everybody at home knows it. It's a common sense approach, and we know it works because we tested it when we had that agreement in place with Albania. It was one of the top places from which people were arriving in the country. We stopped those people coming, we removed them straight away, and all of a sudden, 93% less of them were arriving in this country. We need a deterrent, we need it in place. Everything else is tinkering around the edges.
Brits are tightening their belts as household anxiety grows. Nearly 1 in 3 working adults say that cutting their monthly spending is the top financial resolution for 2026. That's up from just over a quarter last year. Building a rainy day fund is also climbing the priority list, with almost 3 in 10 now planning to save more as cost pressures refuse to ease. And from Bond to Hogwarts, a Scottish motor museum says that its collection of iconic movie props could be worth millions. The privately owned museum near Falkirk attracts around 10,000 visitors per year and gained charity status in 2012. It's currently exhibiting a working replica of the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang car, a van featured in Only Fools and Horses, and a Ford Anglia used as the flying car in the Harry Potter films. Proud owner Colin Anderson says that after 21 years of collecting, the main attraction is the Lotus Esprit from James Bond's The Spy Who Loved Me. And to end with some breaking news, Ruben Amorim has been sacked by Manchester United just 24 hours after the 40-year-old took aim at the club's hierarchy, following the club's 1-1 draw with Leeds on Sunday. Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. More from me in just under half an hour, but now it's back to Andrew and Beth.
Well, everybody's stunned by that Manchester United story, Sophia Hill.
I don't think I'll say...
Even you?
I won't say stunned, but I am surprised because I did hear on the radio from our very own Paul Court that they've got into the top 6 for the first time in donkey's
You've changed, Andrew Pearce, since I've been away. You're now reacting to football stories.
Well, somebody got to because you're not here to do it. I mean, do I care? No. And do I know who he is, the manager? Have I ever heard of him before he came in? No. But this is a team that they're like the Tory party. They get rid of their leaders all the time.
Well,
and it's no good.
So, hang on. So this is Ruben Amorim.
Yeah.
He's been sacked by Manchester United just 24 hours after the 40-year-old took aim at the club's hierarchy. What does that mean? Following the club's 1-1 draw with Leeds on Sunday.
He obviously slagged off the board. Now, if you remember, Jim Ratcliffe, who's a billionaire, tax exile, has got a major stake in Manchester United.
Yeah.
So people assumed billions and millions would pour into the club. My understanding is, being a billionaire businessman, he's brought in loads of economies and savings and sacked lots of people.
That's why billionaires
That's why they're billionaires. It's funny that, isn't it?
Isn't it?
So, and the team is doing better. Now, I'm not going to stray any further than that, but they drew at the weekend against a team who are pretty low down. Anyway, they've sacked them. We will get somebody
Who's that?
Is that him?
That's
him. That's Amorim. Is that his name?
I can help a little bit.
Charlie Peters is here. You were here to talk about this.
Beverly Turning away to a Manchester United fan.
I'm from a Manchester United
Manchester.
family. My dad will be sat with his head in his hands going, Beverly, you're no daughter of mine. How do you not understand this story?
Let's get Mr Turner on, because he can clearly provide better insights than I can, because I have now exhausted my complete knowledge of football.
Come on, Charlie.
Well, in that after that 1-1 draw yesterday, which I had to say I was watching, so we do have a.
Okay, good.
Should they have beaten Leeds?
They should have beaten Leeds, but Ruben Amorim, who's often quite measured in his post-match comments, quite guarded. Yesterday did go on a sort of back me or sack me charge against the leadership, referring to Jason Wilcox, who's the director of football at Manchester United. That's where the comments are very much expected to be directed at him, talking about Wilcox and others in the club's hierarchy needing to do a better job, saying that he had come to the club to be a manager, not to be the coach.
Help me out, Charlie. I think the Chelsea manager got sacked a few days.
That's true, Maresca.
Who were doing very well. But the same thing, criticising the board.
Yes. Yes, football managers are getting to an increasing trend of having a pop at the leadership.
Just as well they don't sack GB News presenters for being critical, isn't it? We stray off message all the time.
Yes, you do, and you're very lucky to have reporters to manage you sometimes.
Here on this programme, we are known for being
we have the best board in the world, they're wonderful.
We love the board. But what I'm saying is they tolerate, if not encourage us to speak out. Say what we think. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We would last 5 minutes at a football club there. Well, I think you'd last 5 seconds.
Well, I wouldn't know anybody was. You've just confirmed that. Should we talk about what Charlie Peters is here to talk about?
Yeah.
There probably are some parallels with boards and football clubs and star managers being outed. Charlie Peters.
Well, this is a man in power who hasn't been abducted by Donald Trump, Ruben Amorim at least, but in Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, he'll be having his first court appearance today.
What would he have for breakfast today in prison?
That's the sort of question you ask the royal correspondent.
It's
speculation about what does the Queen
Because he's
eat?
in the same prison.
Ghislaine Maxwell?
Ghislaine Maxwell was held.
Sean Combs as well,
Did he Puff Daddy, whatever his name is?
P. Diddy.
P. Diddy.
P. Diddy.
Originally Puff Daddy.
There we are. I was right. But I mean, so he's not been given. And is there a VIP wing in that prison?
Well, it's a specialist high security prison,
right?
And it's one way to make someone feel like a VIP is total round the clock coverage. That's for sure. Which he will be enjoying the pleasure of at the moment. There's no doubt about that. And we saw him being flanked by DEA agents as he arrived at that detention centre in Brooklyn. There is quite a lot of protests going on outside as well, as you might expect. Sort of leftist, anti-imperialist protesters, as they might term themselves. Those activists sort of marching in a predetermined section outside the area. He did wish the officers in the prison a happy new year as he was led in. Has been smiling and putting up thumbs, doing all this business in a sort of Trumpian style. And I think it's interesting that he's doing that, actually, because some of the reporting coming out of the US media the last couple of days is that Maduro's dancing might have been one of the reasons why the Trump administration took this decision to go and nab him from his highly secured presidential compound.
His dancing.
His dancing. Because the US administration, sources very close in the White House, speaking to the New York Times in particular, had said that they saw this as essentially him boasting, him seeing that the US was bluffing. All this fighting talk in the background.
Come and get me.
We've got 15,000 sailors, Marines and airmen just off the water. We've got 20 air bases that can direct firepower onto your capital. I don't believe you're going to do it. It's all a bluff. He didn't take that deal. He was offered just days before the strike was launched to take him to Turkey, where he had a gilded and protected life. He rejected that. Footage, I think it's one particular moment where he was seen dancing to an electronic beat over his voice saying, "No war, just peace." This is very soon after the CIA conducted a drone strike on a facility that was accused of being part of the drug smuggling operation closely linked to the Venezuelan government. I think his dancing is one of the reasons why he now finds himself in a Brooklyn detention centre and will soon find himself in court in the Southern District. So as that's going on, a lot of attention now turns to Delcy Rodriguez, who is officially the vice president of Venezuela, but it appears in the weeks leading up to this strike, this abduction of the sitting president, that she came to some sort of arrangement with the US government, who can trust her because she's got a good reputation in dealing with the oil infrastructure, the oil products in the country. Of course, 303 billion barrels, the largest reserves of any country in the world, and a lot of US interest there. Chevron invests very heavily in the infrastructure there. Some of the only decent oil infrastructure in the country is American-made, and it's all heavy crude, the stuff that the US really needs with its oil refineries in the Gulf of Mexico. Now got a different name in the US, of course, the Gulf of America. Yeah, so they use different terms for these things now. And there's also another refinery in the north by Canada.
So just go back to that. Are you suggesting that she was in cahoots with the White House?
I think almost certainly, yes. And she obviously struck a very defiant tone after the...
Because she had to.
She had to, for her own protection, to appear to be speaking in lockstep with the wider Maduro machine.
Yeah.
But now her tone has changed. She's no longer using that sort of language. In fact, talking that she's willing to work closely with the United States, has spoken about an agenda of cooperation. Now, no, that does not sound like the talk of a politician who's resisting her boss being arrested and taken to jail. She said, President Trump, our peoples and our region deserve peace and dialogue, not war. This has always been Maduro's message, and it is a message of all Venezuelan people.
And of course, she'd have known, and her people have known exactly which safe house Maduro was in when they struck.
But I don't think it was her providing that intelligence. It seems to be the case that the CIA had someone within the inner circle, even closer to Maduro, who had been providing them as a covert human intelligence source from late August, possibly early September, to generate that pattern of life analysis. With the targeting operation of any stance, any sort of requirement, they need to find the target, and that means to generate a list of what's important, fix them in times of space, and then go and grab them. The fixing thing would have been the most difficult part of this. Knowing exactly where he's going to be.
There's an amazing film in this.
Yeah.
There really is. I mean, they did it with Noriega in 1989, a long time ago, and he died in a hospital in Nicaragua. But there's a film in this because it is so dramatic and done so quickly. And not an American serviceman life lost.
I would say, Bevan Andrew, I think we're not even halfway through the film because a lot of US air power now in the United Kingdom, some of it moving forwards into the Middle East and Germany as well. These are forming up positions for future operations. Where could they go next? I think that Donald Trump is not done with his 2026 fireworks.
I'd be amazed.
Iran.
He's already crippled Iran via Israel.
But I was reading one of the papers today that there's a plan, according to the Times, they've seen an intelligence report to lift that ghastly old Ayatollah and his family in 20 to Russia. Where else? To flee.
And the question really is, does he make the world safer or more dangerous? He's making the world safer.
Certainly is.
Definitely is.
And he's also
Who's unhappy today about
China's
this?
Russia and China.
But Russia and China. This is a proxy war against Russia and China. We've had multiple guests in the Late Show Live studio in Washington who've said that since September. This is ostensibly about drugs.
Yeah,
and that is also a part of it, absolutely. But it's a beautiful cover story for absolutely hitting Beijing where it hurts.
Switching the oil taps off for China, which will hurt
And the
their
money,
economy.
and not even just that, just also the money, because China's so invested in rebuilding Venezuela.
And
Not anymore.
And Russia's economy is teetering on the edge too.
It's the first
The only
time.
one who's had the-
It's the first time in recent years where Xi Jinping and Putin have looked quite impotent. Actually,
Yeah.
Suddenly
Definitely.
they're wailing rather than acting.
Yeah.
Who is the dominant figure?
Very clever.
Donald Trump. Just imagine if that ludicrous woman, Kamala Harris, had won the election.
Well, they issued a reward for the capture of Maduro, didn't they?
They did.
$50 million.
$50 million. So Kamala Harris and Joe Biden issued, if you can bring
That went
Maduro
well.
to us, you can have $50 million. Well, Trump went, forget it, I'm going after him himself, I'll have him.
But
Brilliant.
I think that $50 million would have played a role in getting those covert sources within the Venezuelan machine to supply information to the UK,
Maybe,
US
but
intelligence.
years ago.
Charlie, they'd have paid them anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever it took.
Charlie, thank you so much. Right, don't forget, friends of GB News can vote in today's poll for free. Scan the QR code on your screen now or visit gbnews.com. And this morning we are asking, would you support President Trump if he took further military action? And you can also tell us on the Your Say which countries you would like him to save from weak leaders. Get in touch, let us know. We'll bring you the results shortly.
We've got a weak leader. Is he ever going to get off the fence?
You don't behave any better,
Starmer?
do you? I've only
No.
been gone for 4 months. You're still
No.
just as naughty as ever,
No.
Andrew Pearce.
Well, he is hopeless. Sat on the fence. His statement was just... you either support it or you don't. You can't be... It's one or t'other, man.
Wet wipe. Right, time for the Great British Giveaway. And 2026 could be on us with an incredible £85,000 to be won. That's gone up since the days I used to do the
Well,
competitions
it's
with
good
you.
having to pay all your vast expenses, all your hair and makeup.
It's like having
No
over
idea what it was like.
£7,000 a
Makeup
month.
staff, they'll be on strike if she's coming back permanently, I'm telling you.
It could be all yours.
I'm joking.
Here's Hayley Sparks with all the details that you need.
It's a brand new year and we're giving you the chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. £85,000 in tax-free cash to make your new year the best yet. And we've come to the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland to celebrate. Imagine what the coming year could look like for you with a whopping £85,000 in the bank. You can have the complete Lapland experience all in one place by visiting the Northern Lights Village. Or just safe in the knowledge that this year is on us. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Up next, we'll tell you why there could well be a Brexit reset underway. Well, it's underway, actually, but we're going to tell you what we think about that.
Oh, brilliant. Claire Muldoon and Matthew Torbett are here. They brought the A-team for me, guys. Fantastic. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
So this is a lovely story because it's about a chap who bought this DB5 and he bought it for 900 quid. This is an Aston Martin DB5.
It's a lovely car.
Bought it for 900 quid. And then for 50 years, pretty much didn't do very much. He moved to the Middle East, car left was on his driveway, things happened, the local kids jumped on it and various other things, and it just decayed. He has spent pretty much the big wodge of 400 grand having it done.
Do we have a picture of this car now?
Oh, I thought as I was waffling. Well, I can hold it up. But this is how it looks now. There we go. This is how it looked then and now. I don't know which.
So he spent
there we
400 grand on this.
400 grand. He sent it back to Aston Martin.
Oh.
To where it was made, and the reason it's worth now about $1 million is because there were only 37, I think,
39
of them made, and so it's very rare. There we go. Well done, him.
Pretty penny on that. Good for him.
Yeah. Yes, and good for him.
He hasn't made it yet.
No, he hasn't made it. It's just worth. I know. He may. He could.
I was reading a story about a man who'd spent £1 million on a DB5, and it's now worth 500,000. But
right,
they hit a peak a couple of years ago. But who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
But don't you want to be spending on a car in order to use it, not to sell it?
Well,
I had a car like that. I drive it.
Yeah. Of course. No, then that's what he's not selling it. He's worked hard to. He said we've worked hard to get it
it's a work of art.
Reconditioned, it's just, and he loves it.
I wonder, does it have machine guns and things they're going to...
Oh no! Weirdly, it says no.
Or an ejector
no ejector seat, exactly. Or any of those other things. Yeah.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Minister.
Talking of pitifully weak prime ministers.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, we're back on air now, Andrew Pearce.
Well, I did say it earlier. I'm not saying anything indiscreet.
Just tuning in, it's Bev with you this morning, and it's so nice to be here for one day, to be a little bit back amongst the mischief. I do miss it, you know. But anyway...
We miss her, don't we?
We're joined by journalist
Andrew. No tongue in any cheek.
Miriam is doing a brilliant job of keeping you in line.
She struggles sometimes.
We've got Claire Muldoon with us this morning and Matthew Torbett are both here in the studio. Guys, it's so nice to see you. Do you want to talk about Venezuela?
Can I just say, because one thing Starmer does sometimes get credit for in a year of not getting credit for very much is he's often seemed to perform well on the international stage. Well, he's performing on a blooming tightrope at the moment, mate, on Maduro. He's got to get off the fence, doesn't he?
Probably not. Listen, the response was wet, and I thought it was quite...
He said, we don't know, we're not involved part of it.
I want to talk to everybody.
I want to talk to everybody. He doesn't seem to understand what's happened. His Venezuelan president and his wife, in fact, been kidnapped, brought to... going to be put on trial. What's there not to... What does he need to know with that? What else does he need to know before he makes a definitive statement about the view of the British government?
Well, he'll need to know that the £31 billion investment in this so-called tech trade deal is in the bank. Yes, so that's what we're waiting on, I imagine.
So it's all about his relations with Trump.
It's always about money. Regardless of whatever geopolitics it is, it's about money, who's investing where and who's doing what. I thought his statement yesterday was oxymoronic, because to say we stand for international law, although we're going to help with this transition, we want to see a transition. I think, well, that's the two are night and day, essentially. So, no, it wasn't great. I think various ministers, understandably because of the reasons they're doing it, I get it, but are sort of embarrassing themselves. I think you can totally say we have concerns about potential international law, but we'll have to wait and see what the Americans say.
Darren Jones, who is the Chief Secretary to
on
the Prime
LBC.
Minister, and he was also with our very own
Camilla Tominey yesterday.
I was embarrassed for him.
Yes.
7 times she posed that question to him, and yet he couldn't answer it. I mean, it's on one side...
Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister, so the right-hand man.
Yeah, I know. On the one hand, it's quite refreshing to see someone that's not spun so much as to give out the normal rhetoric and normal standard answers. But I, honest to goodness, don't think that Number 10 knows how to deal with this, knows how to communicate to us, the electorate, exactly what is happening in America. I don't think they know what side of the tightrope to fall onto.
The irony is one of the most senior advisors in Number 10, Matthew, is Jonathan Powell, who was there with Blair from 94 right through to 2007 when Blair quit. He was a key figure during the Iraq War. a key figure during the negotiations with Northern Ireland when America was hugely involved. He understands how the White House and America ticks, and yet, as Claire says, it appears Number 10 doesn't have a clue.
It would appear so. I suppose if we're looking back, they've played with Trump quite well. That's the one thing I think Keir Starmer has done, in that Trump seems to behave himself, certainly publicly around.
Only because he's British. Because Starmer is British.
But that's where the soft power... No, I'm not saying it is.
Could be
but the
anybody,
idea of
really.
the strategy of kissing the ring, the King's letter, let's have him at Balmoral, whatever it might be, has worked up to now. So I understand the gentle touch. What I get annoyed with is a lack of consistency, because we would call out international law when it came to Russia-Ukraine. We would probably do the same with China and other people that we don't necessarily... They've even done it with Israel-Palestine, and yet they will not do it when there appears to be such a blatant rule break of it.
Should we talk about migrants' phones?
Yes, let's.
This is a laugh-out-loud moment, isn't it, in the history of this country?
Well, the story is, as you know,
embarrassed.
that illegal migrants coming over all have got mobile phones. Mostly they do,
They're mostly
because
on
that
them
is
when they get off
that
the
is the
flipping
business model of contacting either their handlers or other people that they know here. From today, law enforcement will be able to seize those phones, but moreover, seize the data within those phones, which will then hopefully give lines to the people who are conducting this human trafficking, because that is what it is.
So they are now going to drop them over the side.
Well,
because the people smugglers will say, give us your phones.
People smugglers won't even let them get on the boat with the phone.
Of course they won't.
They'll take them off them before they get on the
boat.
phone.
Are you not as stunned as we are, Claire, that we've got to this point with this armada has been crossing our channel for years,
the problem with this, Andrew, is if this law is passed, where will it end? We don't want any militia, we don't want any government being able to seize these things from any other member of the public.
They're breaking the law.
They are, indeed they are. But my point is, if the gangs had been smashed years ago when they ought to have been, if Yvette Cooper, when she was Home Secretary, took a stronger line, this wouldn't even have had to come into play. This wouldn't even have had to be outdone now, because it's really ridiculous. And I do fear for the future. I do fear for this law being passed if we can actually...
What you're thinking this could apply to all sorts of other people?
Yes,
it will.
It will.
This is the thing. So at the moment, and correct me if I'm wrong, but at the moment, if you are arrested, the police actually, surprisingly, don't have a right to seize your devices.
No, that's right.
If you are, say, arrested for some sort of sexual offence, I think there's a slightly different nuance to that, whereby they can demand to see your devices because you might have child pornography on it or something like that. So I completely see your point, Claire. In other words, if this law is blanket, it means that anyone who is arrested at any point, or even you don't these guys are not being arrested.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
You don't have to be arrested. The police can just knock on your door and say, right, I need to look at your devices.
Why aren't they arrested?
That's
because
chilling.
they've broken the law. That every one of them, when they get off the boat, have broken the law.
Should be arrested.
Illegally. Arrest them.
Or sent to a centre that they can then process them as asylum seekers.
Arrest them.
I think the problem is they probably technically haven't broken the law.
They have. They have.
No. So they would consider themselves refugees. Now, we can all disagree or agree whether they are or they aren't, or whether they're economic migrants taking them in. However, if you do identify as a refugee, you're protected under the UN Convention, which says you can travel by disparate means because if you were...
You're fleeing a war-torn country or a country that you're not safe in.
So you're not flying out of Baghdad. You will travel via irregular means, which is where, therefore, they haven't technically broken the law because the law covers them for that. I think this sort of stuff concerns me, what Claire was saying. I think, actually, I thought the law was... The police can seize your phone if they think you may delete stuff. I don't think it's actually just sexual, and I think, therefore, that leaves anyone open to anything, surely, because you could easily delete anything if you're under suspicions of whatever.
It's track and trace as well. You know, it's going back to these digital ID cards. Yeah. If we've all got... It's just such a horrible, dystopian... Margaret Atwood couldn't even write a book about it. It's awful. It really, really is. And I've got great fears for the future, not only of this country, but also of the world and our children that are in it.
And we have to be mindful of how illegal migration is used as a brilliant excuse to push
exactly
like this.
And you know the main point, sorry, Bev, it ain't going to work. These people are going to change the numbers. It's all done via Telegram, encrypted services. They're just going to change.
Which again raises the issue of what's it really about then in that case. Right, Matthew, Claire, thank you so much. Let's get a 60-second news update with Sophia Hill.
Very good morning. The latest headlines just after 10:30. Breaking in the last half hour, Ruben Amorim has been sacked by Manchester United. The news comes just 24 hours after the 40-year-old took aim at the club's hierarchy following the club's 1-1 draw with Leeds on Sunday. Keir Starmer faces a revolt as MPs demand he condemns the US's attack on Venezuela. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has issued a start warning to Venezuela's interim leader, urging her to comply with his wishes. Elsewhere, Starmer is making a direct pitch to voters, promising to ease the cost of living squeeze and insisting that families will start to feel real change under Labour in 2026. Take care today as winter bites back just as the country clocks back on. Sub-zero temperatures and a web of snow and ice warnings are causing disruptions. Hundreds of schools have shut and flights have been delayed. Border powers toughen as new laws on phone grabbing take effect. From today, officers can seize mobile phones and SIM cards from migrants without making an arrest, aiming to crack down on people smugglers behind channel crossings. Those are the headlines for now. More on those stories at the top of the hour.
Up next, a story that Andrew knows a lot about. Manchester United boss Ruben Amorim.
It would be keeping you awake at night wondering and worrying about the fate of Manchester United.
He's
a load
been
of
sacked.
overpaid, overprivileged prima donnas. That's footballers. That's my view.
Well, Darren Fletcher.
Whoever he is.
He's going to take over in the
That's all right,
meantime.
then.
Who's that?
That'll be all right then.
Well,
that'll be all right.
That'd be all right. Andrew's relieved about that.
Never heard of him.
We're going to bring you all the latest reaction to that, what it means. This is Britain's Newsroom.
Beverly's going to give her reaction too, which
On
will be
GBNews.
insightful.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Another bitterly cold start to the day. Widespread frost and ice across the country. Some difficult travelling conditions through the day as further snow is expected. Heavy snow showers continue across northern Scotland and amber Met Office warning out for the snow here this morning. Elsewhere, yellow snow and ice warnings as we see further snow showers push south across the country. In between there will be some sunny spells, but it will be a bitterly cold day for everyone. Temperatures really struggling to rise much above freezing. Some places staying below freezing all day, so expect icy stretches wherever you are. Into the evening time, we'll see further snow showers pushing southwards, though the snow showers across Scotland should start to ease a little bit as we move through the rest of the evening into the early hours. But icy stretches forming quite widely, temperatures well below freezing by 5 o'clock. Further wintry showers across Northern Ireland, a little drier across northern parts of England, but a few wintry showers still possible. And again, across the rest of England and Wales, the risk of some sleet and snow showers and icy stretches as widely temperatures will be below freezing, and they will continue to fall as we head overnight into Tuesday morning. Clear skies for many, but the risk of a few wintry showers still possible, and then a band of rain, sleet and snow will move in across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland during the early hours. Met Office warnings remain in force for snow and ice, temperatures widely again below freezing, so a very cold and icy start to Tuesday morning. Outbreaks of sleet and snow across Northern Ireland and Scotland continuing through the day here. Further accumulations of snow, particularly over the higher ground. Elsewhere, generally drier, best of the sunshine across central southern parts of England. But another cold feeling day for most of us, with temperatures really struggling to rise much above freezing. Just signs of something towards the far southwest of a little milder air trying to move in.
Thank you for making us Britain's #1 news channel. Together, we have built something truly extraordinary.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. On the M77 southbound, restrictions remain between Junction 2 and Junction 3 after a road traffic collision. Snow is affecting both directions on the M4 between Junction 46 and Junction 49, so take care. In East Riding of Yorkshire, the A63 westbound is restricted between the A1166 and the A15 following a crash, with lane closures. In Staffordshire, congestion is building on the A500 northbound between the A34 and junction 16 on the M6. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast and Cross Country are reporting disruption on some routes, including between Cambridge and Ely. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
(10:38). This is Britain's Newsroom with Andrew Brett. We've got a lot of catching up to do, you know, haven't we? Sorry if
we
it's
do,
a bit
we
giggly
do. But
when we
we're going to
come out
bring
of
you
the
back to that extraordinary story that's gripping both Beverly and I.
Thank you.
I was just trying to
Honestly,
think. I was trying to remember the name of the football team. Manchester United coach. It is an extraordinary story. They are the most famous football club in the world after Ruben Amorim has been sacked this morning.
That's right. So let's get reaction to that news now with GB News sports broadcaster Paul Coit. Paul, I said goodbye to you as you're going out the door. We didn't think we'd be talking to each other this soon. Right, what's happened here? Why is this a big deal?
Yeah, and why did you miss the scoop, Paul?
And also the other thing, Andrew, I want to say that if it was Swindon Town, then you'd be interested, wouldn't you? You'd be all over it then, I know you.
I don't think that would be headline news if Swindon Town did anything, Paul.
Well, maybe on your show it would be. But anyway, Ruben Amorim, we spoke about him actually on breakfast this morning, saying, how long has he got? Because he had a press conference yesterday, and it was after the draw that they had with Leeds. And it was extraordinary because he seemed to be having a go at the board. And when you've got the paymasters, the people that are paying your money, basically your bosses in a football club, if you start going after them, there's only going to be one winner. Have a look at this. This is what he said after the game yesterday.
I came here to be the manager of Manchester United, not to be the coach of Manchester United. And that is clear. I know that my name is not Tuchel, it's not Conte, it's not Mourinho, but I'm the manager of Manchester United. And it's going to be like this for 18 months, or when the board decided to change.
So what happens now, Paul?
Well, what happens now is that he walks out. Who comes in? We're still waiting to see Darren Fletcher, who's the assistant. It looks like he's going to take care of things for a while. But then we've got Enzo Maresca, who also left under a similar dark cloud at Chelsea only a few days ago. I wonder, because there's links with the owners or the people at Manchester United, whether he may go in and then we've got a proper managerial merry-go-round. But it is a surprise that it's happened so quickly.
Paul.
It was expected, but not as soon as
Paul,
it actually
is this a conspiracy here? Did the Chelsea bloke walk because he knew the Man United job was coming up?
Oh.
You know what? There's stranger things that have happened in football there, Andrew, and I wonder whether Amorim, for the reaction that he had at the press conference yesterday, he'd got wind that something was happening. Because all this stuff about, I'm not coach, I'm the manager, it's like, when you sign on as head coach, that's what you are. And the difference between manager these days, because managers used to look after everything, whereas they don't these days. So he feels as if his power has disappeared. It was going to happen at some point because the results have been bad. He's lost probably half of the games they played in. He seemed to be the new great hope that was going to come from Portugal and turn things around, and it hasn't worked that way. So it always ends the same way. He's out the door.
All right, Paul. Paul Coit, who is our resident sport expert. Paul Coit, we love Paul.
Good job we got him.
Just as well, because Bev and I really haven't got a clue. There are 11 players in a football team.
And some on the bench. Now, in the largest survey of business leaders post-budget, 78% of family business owners are pessimistic about the UK economy in 2026.
Poundland is one of several struggling shops. Remember, that helps people on the lowest income, and it's shutting down 30 of its stores.
And Primark has also recently shocked shoppers, closing a branch for the first time in 10 years. We're joined now by the CEO for the Jobs Foundation, Georgiana Bristol. Georgiana, hello. I'm tempted to say Happy New Year, but it certainly isn't for small business.
No, it's definitely not. Although I will say for a second I thought you were going to ask me about Manchester United and I was feeling woefully unprepared. But
so
no.
are we.
Yes. But no, I mean, it's really depressing. It's depressing and tough times out there. We know that SMEs and family businesses, which are a big part of that, make up for 60% of GDP. And they're saying that actually it would have been easier to run their businesses back in the 1970s, you know, time recognised for a 3-day working week.
I say that's extraordinary because I'm old enough to remember growing up in the 70s, constant strikes, power cuts. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Shortages of food. I remember once we were rationed on sugar. because it becomes so expensive.
We have Manjaro to do that now.
Well, exactly.
How times have changed.
But what has caused this? Is it government policy?
I mean, it is. I think it's, it's not an easy time for businesses, national insurance contributions, employment rights bill, very negative rhetoric from the government, successive late budgets, and now, of course, with the inheritance tax issue. I think
business rates are killing pubs.
I mean, such a tough time. And, the employment that those businesses are generating, you're kind of kicking the kind of bottom of the ladder hardest, and people with those kind of entry-level jobs into work, it's just not happening.
One of the other issues, I think, that I hear, Georgiana, because I'm always fascinated when I talk to people who run their own businesses as to how this is operating, is this ESG requirement. So this is your environmental and social governance. So basically, be a good business. Don't just run your business. Be a good business. Do what's right for the planet and for diversity, equity, inclusion, etc. Smaller businesses are hit hardest by those requirements, aren't they? Because they don't have the bandwidth.
No.
In terms of time or the number of people they employ. If you want to, one of the companies, if you're told, let's say by the local council, if you've got a contract to, I don't know, build a leisure centre or something, and a big firm can employ somebody that can go litter pick in the local area, but as a small business, you don't have the resources to do that. You're not going to get that contract, and that's part of the problem here.
It is. I think also it's kind of going to the kind of very heart of what is a good business. I'd say it's making a profit. It's employing people.
How very
it's training
old-fashioned of you.
Thank you. I think it's a really, the Jobs Foundation, we're a charity that champion business as a force for good in its work to lift people out of poverty through jobs and training. So I think when you're looking particularly at family businesses that have got huge roots into local communities, have been a kind of life raft of employment, often for, several generations. And then you're breaking that because businesses can't pass those businesses on to the next generation. And the risk then is actually you get new, business leaders that come into those businesses that actually don't have the same responsibility and care to those employees. And actually, it's those people that get, hit the hardest.
Yeah. And can I just say, you use the expression historic pessimism for business. That's an interesting phrase to use. Yeah. Is this because you've done the survey which shows how gloomy people are?
Yes, exactly. But I think, the trends around businesses not feeling valued or recognised by not just our current set of politicians, but previous governments. Those trends have been there for a while.
Thank you, Georgiana. Georgiana Bristol, there, the CEO for the Jobs Foundation. Right, still to come, we're going to have the latest on Donald Trump as he takes on the world. We're going to be joined by a Danish MP who represents the Danish territory of Greenland. What will their reaction be to that tweet by Katie Miller showing Greenland, covered in a Stars and Stripes flag? First of all, though, let's have a quick look at the weather in Europe.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. If you're after some warmer weather, Greece at the moment seeing temperatures above average. Still the risk of some showers across the Canary Islands at the moment and parts of Madeira. Perhaps southern Spain also seeing 1 or 2 showers, but generally some bright skies around. Heavier rain for parts of Italy on Tuesday. Could be thundery at times, and then the risk of some showers into Greece, but temperatures well above average for the time of year. And it remains so here for the next few days until eventually starting to cool down.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. only on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline.
Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
.50, this is Britain's Newsroom on GB News with Andrew and Bev.
Well, Donald Trump says the US needs Greenland, as the Danish Prime Minister has urged the President to stop threats.
They said it makes absolutely no sense to talk about the US needing to take over Greenland. America has no right to annex any of the 3 countries in the Danish kingdom, said Ms. Frederiksen.
So we're going to talk now to the Greenland member of the Danish Parliament, who is Aja Chemnitz. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Aja Chemnitz. Good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us. How serious do you take the sabre rattling from the United States about Denmark? About Greenland, sorry, Greenland.
Yeah. I think it's important to take it seriously, and I think it's important not only to have a debate on this with words, but actually to start acting, because I think it's very important that we have done many things when it comes to the defense. I'm on the Defense Committee, but I'm also on the Foreign Affairs Committee. And I've been that for more than 10 years. And, you know, I've been getting many information about, for example, Russian submarines or Chinese ships in the area. And, of course, we're getting funding in order to make sure that the surveillance will be better in the future. So I think everything that Trump has been saying has been quite exaggerating. And I think the reason why he's doing that is of own interest, to make sure that he can get Greenland. But Greenland doesn't need U.S. to the same extent that U.S. needs Greenland. And therefore, I think it's important to say that we have self-rule. We have, autonomy to a large extent. And I think it's very important to say that any decision about the future of Greenland is completely up to us.
And just so that people watching and listening here will understand, the United States President regards Greenlandic airspace as vital to the air defence of the United States and Canada. In a nutshell, is that the strategic interest for America?
I think there's different interests, whether it's the raw materials that you can find in Greenland, which we have quite a lot of, whether it's the placements, geostrategic placement of Greenland when it comes to defense, or whether it's, a wish to expand the area of U.S. I think, there's many different reasons why he wants Greenland, but it's important for us to say that it's completely up to us what's going to happen in Greenland, to the people of Greenland, and not to an American president to decide on our behalf.
If we look at Venezuela, Aya, and say that seizing Maduro was actually about oil reserves, about hitting China and Russia where it hurts by choking off particularly the oil supply to China. But drugs have been used as a, inverted commas, excuse to take that action. There is no equivalent excuse, reason, logic that could be applied when it comes to Greenland, is there?
No, it's also very important to say that you can't compare Venezuela and Greenland when you look at the political system, for example, because we have a very healthy democracy in Greenland. It's a young democracy, but it's a democracy, and we had an election last year, and we have a government, we have our own parliament, and it's up to us in Greenland. I'm one of the 2 representatives in the Danish parliament, and we have the responsibility, for example, for defense and foreign affairs issues. So a good collaboration between Greenland and Denmark is also very important to make sure that we, do all that we can, because this is a threat and this is against our will. I think that's very important to say. This is against the will of Greenland and the Greenlandic people, and especially the majority in Greenland. And maybe you can find some people that finds it interesting to be American citizens, but I know that the culture and the livelihood and the language will be completely different if we were to be American citizens. And therefore, it's not of any interest for me or for the people that I represent.
And I also, of course, Greenland being part of the Council of Europe and part of Denmark makes you part of NATO.
We're not a part of the Council not a part of the European Union, but we're an OCT country because Denmark is a part of EU. But we have a close collaboration, and one of the closest collaboration outside of EU from a Greenlandic side, because we have collaboration when it comes to education, when it comes to the fisheries around Greenland and so on. So I think it's important for us to say that we need our allies right now. It's very good for us to have the support from UK, very good for us to have the support from France, from Germany and other European countries, because we really need that at this moment, because, we're only 56,000 people. And it's a strong society because we've been, pushing against people wanting to buy our country or to govern our country for many, many years because of the placement of Greenland. But, that's why it's so vital for us. So that's why we say nothing about us without us.
What would you like to hear the UK Prime Minister say in relation to this issue?
Just that they're supporting Greenland. And I think the dialogue between the governments right now is important, first and foremost between Greenland and Denmark, but also between the European countries as well, because they've been very good at supporting us. And we really need that in this moment of need.
OK,
all
fascinating.
Right, well, best of luck, Aya. That's Aya Kemnitz, who's Member of Parliament of the Danish Parliament, representing Greenland. Of course, I was just looking at some of the elements, the minerals they've got. Lithium.
A lot of people want lithium.
Everybody wants lithium because it's so important into development of mobile phones.
Right, talking of Icelandic countries, should we have a look at Anna Riley? She's in Scarborough right now, and it looks a bit like Greenland there, icy countries. Here she is. Hello, Anna. Oh, you poor thing. Look at the state of that.
The snow is certainly falling here in Scarborough. Talk about Iceland, it certainly feels Baltic. Find out more about the weather we're getting after the break.
It's a brand new year and we're giving you the chance to win our biggest cash prize to date.
£85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
And we've come to the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland to celebrate.
An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Monday, 5th of January, the time is 11 o'clock, live across the UK, Britain's Newsroom with Andrew Pearce. And she's back, Bev Turner.
Just for today. Now, Donald Trump has doubled down on America's control of Venezuela.
Don't ask me who's in charge because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
It means we're in charge.
Overnight, the US president threatening Venezuela's new leader with a fate worse than ousted leader Nicolas Maduro if she doesn't do what's right. He's talking about Colombia next.
Colombia is very sick, too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States, and he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
His team may not agree with him on that, of course, and President Trump has hinted that other countries might meet the same fate, he says there about Colombia. He's also apparently talking about Danish territory, but all of that to be confirmed.
Well, breaking news, the coach of Manchester United, who apparently thought he was the manager, Ruben Amorim, has been sacked this morning. Shock horror.
We will stop this. We will smash the gangs.
I will do whatever it takes to secure our borders.
So border officers are now going to be allowed to take mobile phones off migrants who step off boats without arresting them. Now, they're saying it's to gather intelligence for the channel smugglers, but does it make you worry that maybe they'd do the same with a knock on your door?
And Nanny State update. You'll be pleased to know an amber weather warning's been issued because apparently there's snow and ice. It's January.
You can certainly see the snow and ice here in Scarborough. The snow and hail is bouncing down. We'll be telling you more about that later in the show.
And secret cash stash. Find out why 1 in 7 pensioners admit that they've hidden £50,000 or more from their other half.
Where would you hide 50,000? Do you put it under the mattress? Or do you have a building society account they don't know about? But what about if the letter arrives?
Do you still have building society accounts?
I've got 2 building society accounts
you?
and I'm not giving them up.
Well, I'd say gold. Put it in gold. How I wish I'd bought gold a couple of years ago. Look at the price of it. Will I tell my partner that I'd bought the gold? Well, I'm not married anymore, am I? I mean, my lovely James too. I probably would tell him because we are very open about our finances.
Yeah, my partner and I are pretty open, but I'm not sure I would know
exactly how many pennies he's got,
no,
where he's got them.
Or vice
really?
Versa, no.
Oh, if you're watching, Mr. P, you might want to look at what's in his bank account. What is he hiding from? But I have to say, I'm surprised that many pensioners have got £50,000 hidden away.
Particularly since this lot got in, Labour, because they've been stealing their money, taking their money at every opportunity, haven't they?
Absolutely.
And in April, a lot more pensioners are going to go into tax for the first time, which I think is wicked.
Yeah, it's not a great year, is it? GBNews.com/your say. We're trying to keep your spirits up this morning on this very cold day, start of the new year. And it's lovely to be back here just for this morning. First, though, here's your news with Sophia.
Bev, thank you. A very good morning. It's just gone 11 o'clock. These are your latest headlines. Well, breaking in the last hour, Ruben Amorim has been sacked by Manchester United. The news comes just 24 hours after the 40-year-old took aim at the club's hierarchy following their 1-1 draw with Leeds on Sunday. The Red Devils only hired the Portuguese coach in November 2024 following the departure of Erik ten Hag. Darren Fletcher has been told that he will take charge of Wednesday's Premier League game against Burnley. Sir Keir Starmer faces a revolt as MPs demand he condemns the US's attack on Venezuela. The Prime Minister has refused to call the capture of President Nicolas Maduro an illegal act in breach of international law so far. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has issued a stark warning to Venezuela's interim leader, urging her to comply with his wishes. The US leader has threatened a fate worse than ousted Maduro's if she doesn't do what's right. Maduro is facing weapons and drugs charges in New York after he was captured by US forces over the weekend and is set to appear in court today. An emergency UN Security Council meeting is scheduled for 3 o'clock this afternoon, while at home, the Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper, is expected to lay out the government's response to the capture in the House of Commons. GB News spoke to Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State for Migration and Citizenship, Mike Tapp, about the attack earlier.
It's really important for the Venezuelan people that this dictator has been removed. You know, he arrested political dissidents, he tortured, he used sexual violence. Venezuela is safer without him. What we need now is a peaceful, safe transition and democratic transition for the Venezuelan people. And we're really clear that this country, the very foundations of this country are international law and rules-based system, and that hasn't changed.
Sir Keir Starmer is making a direct pitch to voters, promising to ease the cost of living squeeze and insisting that families will start to feel real change under Labour in 2026. After a bruising year of poor polls and leadership speculation, the Prime Minister is doubling down on his position, rejecting calls to stand aside and arguing that constant leadership churn only breeds chaos. He's also warning would-be Labour rivals that destabilising his leadership now risks doing one thing above all, handing power straight to Reform UK's Nigel Farage. Elsewhere, hundreds of schools have been shut and flights cancelled as weather warnings remain in force, with snow bringing much disruption. Sub-zero temperatures and the web of these snow and ice warnings are causing millions trying to return to work and school a bit of trouble. Amber alerts are still covering much of northern Scotland. Forecasters are warning of heavy snowfall, dangerous travel conditions and rural communities potentially being cut off, while health officials are urging people to check on the elderly and the vulnerable. More breaking news this morning. 10 people have been found guilty of cyberbullying Brigitte Macron in a court in Paris. This is the latest legal action related to France's First Lady, sparked by false claims that she is a transgender woman who was born a man. The 8 men and 2 women, aged 41 to 60, who were tried in a Paris criminal court, had been accused of making malicious comments about Brigitte Macron's gender and sexuality, including equating her age difference with her husband to paedophilia. Borders powers toughen as new laws on phone grabbing take effect. From today, officers can seize mobile phones and SIM cards from migrants without making an arrest, aiming to crack down on people smugglers behind channel crossings. The government says that the measures will speed up intelligence gathering, while critics argue that this offers cosmetic changes without a real deterrent. Shadow Minister of State for Illegal Immigration, Crime and Policing, Matt Vickers, told GB News that this was just tinkering around the edges.
them, people who break into this country, who come in illegally without permission, without the passport, who have no right to be here, should be removed. That's how you solve this. Everybody at home knows it. It's the common sense approach, and we know it works because we tested it when we had that agreement in place with Albania. It was one of the top places from which people were arriving in the country. We stopped those people coming, we removed them straight away, and all of a sudden, 93% less of them were arriving in this country. We need a deterrent, we need it in place. Everything else is tinkering around the edges.
And from Bond to Hogwarts, a Scottish motor museum says that its collection of iconic movie props could be worth millions. The privately owned museum Neil Falkirk attracts around 10,000 visitors per year and gained charity status in 2012. It's currently exhibiting a working replica of the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang car, a van featured in Only Fools and Horses, and a Ford Anglia used as the flying car in the Harry Potter films. Proud owner Colin Anderson says that after collecting for 21 years, the main attraction is the Lotus Esprit from James Bond, The Spy Who Loved Me. Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. More from me in just under half an hour.
Cheers Britannia Wine Club proudly sponsors the GB News Financial Report.
Here's a quick snapshot of today's markets. The pound will buy you $1.344 and 1.150 euros. The price of gold is £3,296.74 per ounce, and the FTSE 100's at 9,977 points.
Cheers Britannia Wine Club proudly sponsors the GB News Financial Report.
Britain's Newsroom, live across the UK. I was gossiping to Bev because we're catching up, because I haven't seen her for a long time. It's Bev Turner, by the way.
Hi.
Star of, what's your show called?
It's called Late Show Live, and I'm sure you know that, Andrew, because I'm sure you watch it every single night from 12 till 2
You do it
UK.
You get it on catch-up.
A lot of people watch it on catch-up. A lot of people are watching it live, weirdly.
Good.
Well, it's not weird. Obviously, that's obvious. They should be watching it live. But more people than we thought actually stay up after midnight, which is great. Thank you if you're one of them.
And of course, America is the place. It is an extraordinary story at the best of times, but Donald Trump has made it the most amazing story. And he's excelled himself, hasn't he, in the last few days?
Yeah.
By plucking one of the most evil, despotic presidents in the world out of his safe house into a New York prison.
And simultaneously kicking China where it hurts.
Because China was buying or having its free cheap oil was coming from Venezuela. So he's really hurt a political enemy. And Russia, as somebody else said earlier in the programme, Russia and China, the two despots in Russia and China, look
It's also about the fact one of the biggest issues for Trump in 2026 is going, and all around the world actually, is going to be currency. The value of currency, the value of money. We've got this huge debt that every country's paying off, which they'll never pay off. So what happens next? And so that's part of the big issue. It's the petrodollar, and it's about whether the dollar can remain dominant across the world when you've got Brazil and Russia and India and China, the BRICS countries, working closely together. And also in collaboration, of course, with Middle East dictators who have a lot of oil. So he's gone in there.
And there's no great panic on the markets since he's acted, because actually the markets will probably prefer the fact that the biggest Venezuela is the world's biggest oil, has the world's largest oil reserves, that those oil reserves are in the control of the Americans rather than the Marxists.
That's right. Now, let's have a look at what you've been saying at home, shall we? Why
are you doing it on your phone?
Well, apparently this is your new way of doing it now.
How would I know? I've never
I'm sorry, Miriam, he's not improved. When I was here, I'd sit here and read them like this. But anyway, Maggie has said, whilst our government procrastinates and waits to be told what to say and do, Trump is taking action against threats to the US. Len says Russia's doing exactly what it wants to make itself stronger. China will do the same in its own backyard. Why shouldn't America do the same? Absolutely, Len. Janet says this isn't about oil, it's about China's threat to the US. You're right, Janet, but that's because China gets a huge amount of cheap oil from Venezuela in exchange to the $60 billion that Venezuela owes China. So it's much more complicated than just being about drugs.
The Commons is back today. Will there be an emergency Commons statement? There should be. And the Foreign Secretary, will he make it, or will the Prime Minister make it? Because the Prime Minister doesn't appear to know what he thinks.
No.
Because his statement, opaque is an understatement, but it was a masterpiece of saying nothing. Because he doesn't want to offend Donald Trump, and that's the same view from his ministers. And if you haven't seen the interview our very own Camilla Tominey did yesterday with Darren Jones, who is the Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister, a new post, So the Prime Minister's most important minister, it was embarrassing.
But you see, if...
He would not give a view as to whether he even agreed.
But if Starmer... I'm sure he does understand it from a geopolitical point of view. I can't believe it's beyond the wit of his team to understand what's really going on here. He could say something rather oblique about the fact that by doing this, President Trump is what?
Making the world a safer place.
Making the world a safer place. He could allude to the Chinese.
He's a lawyer first and foremost. He's a lawyer, not a leader. And as a lawyer, he's troubled because clearly Trump has broken the rules of international.
See, they would say they're saying he hasn't because they went after him as a criminal.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't go through all the usual channels, the United Nations, which I admire him for because the United Nations is a pointless institution.
Hey, and listen, it's Davos in 2 weeks.
Oh, that's where the Prime Minister prefers to be.
And Trump is going to be there.
Yeah.
So,
and if Davos is where the great and the good of the talking classes meet,
and Trump's going to stand on the stage and just go, I don't care. It's what's right for my country, and I'm doing what's right for the rest of the world.
And the room will be crowded.
Yeah, it will.
Everybody will want to hear what the President of the United States
and they'll all be jealous that he's got such backbone that he does what's right for his country.
Yeah, whether you agree with him or not, he is a leader, and we need leaders. Now, let's talk to a research fellow at the Yorktown Institute in Washington, D.C., Robert Clark. Robert Clark, good morning to you. How is Washington reacting to the extraordinary developments of the last 48 hours?
Good morning. I think Washington as a bubble itself is in some form of meltdown and flux. They're not used to this level of lack of communication from a sitting president. But the signalling has been here for, the last year. This is actually no change in American policy, really, for the last 100 years. It's an extension of the Monroe Doctrine, which is the ability for the United States to control the Western Hemisphere, and in particular, as you correctly pointed out, in relation to China and China's increasing role in Venezuela and Latin America more broadly.
Robert, I gather people are already now saying it's not so much the Monroe as the Donroe.
Yeah, no, exactly. President Trump is taking this one step further because, to be quite honest, the administration can see exactly the trajectory of geopolitics over the next 4 to 5 years with China in the Indo-Pacific. It's the ability to deny China a crucial ally and sovereign actor in Latin America, which can actually have a huge strategic detrimental effect to America if it wishes to act in the Indo-Pacific against Chinese aggression, potentially against Taiwan or the Philippines in a couple of years down the line. It's an incredibly prudent strategy. It's an extension of American foreign policy. It's just the ability of China now to move at pace and scale has been dented somewhat significantly. So it's a huge strategic success.
Are you surprised, Robert, that the president isn't being more explicit about the fact that this is a proxy war with China, or can he simply not say that? Because that would land better with the MAGA base than the MAGA base thinking, oh, this is President Trump again getting involved in a country that has nothing to do with us. How does he manage to get that balance right?
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. It's the communication of this. It's been almost entirely framed to the domestic base in particular as, America's war on sort of narco-communism with Maduro the first to fall, Colombia potentially next, and everyone's looking around at the next flashpoints. I think he could do a better job communicating that, and indeed he should, and that brings on obviously the parallel with Denmark and Greenland to a very, very sceptical and quite frankly panicked Europe as to where this may lead to European shores as well.
And on politics, Robert, Marco Rubio is a key figure in all of this, the Secretary of State, the foreign minister, as he would be in this country. Is he becoming more and more important in the administration, perhaps overshadowing J.D. Vance, the Vice President?
No, if anything, it's actually the reverse. Quite a few people have been sceptical over the previous months that Marco Rubio is actually being overlooked and sidelined by people closer to Donald Trump. Thankfully, Trump is keeping Rubio close. Rubio is incredibly capable. And really, he's one of the main people who's been organising and orchestrating this, and particularly dealing with Delcy Rodriguez, the now interim president of Venezuela. So he really has a very strong hand in this.
And do you think for a second that this will spread to any other parts of the world?
I mean, OK, so if we look at the geopolitical angle of China, my next guess is something to do with Panama, the ability for Hong Kong entities and thus China to control both the entrances to the Panama Canal. So it's the exact same geostrategic importance of Venezuela being some form of launch pad and area access, and area denial for China to influence. Colombia, I think, has been served a warning blow, just as Venezuela was up to a year ago. This goes back to the classic, we should take Donald Trump seriously, not literally. I think many people could see this coming, and now really it's up to the Colombian president to ensure, better cooperation with the Americans to avoid a similar fate. I think Panama is going to be very interesting, and hopefully the Europeans will be firm enough and resolute enough to communicate collectively that Greenland is absolutely off the table for America.
OK, Robert, thank you. I've just got my White House email. So you get an email every morning to say what the president's doing.
She's such a name dropper, isn't she?
But guess what the president's doing today? Nothing. That's very unusual.
Yeah.
Very unusual.
Does that mean he's planning and plotting something?
Got policy meetings, but no press allowed. And that is very unusual because almost every day is doing something where you've got press going in and out. In and out every day. I'll talk to the press every day. They're obviously keeping this very quiet, working out next steps. Maduro's going to be in court later today in New York. That will be interesting.
And, of course, he will want attention on that too. In a media strategy, because that's going to be the eyes of the world. Media will be there because when did a president last appear in court on drug charges in the United States?
We're giggling because we're being told off for stop nattering.
No, because you have to go back to 1989.
Oh, Andrew, we haven't got time to go back to 1989. We've got to go to the poll.
Noriega was pulled out of Nicaragua. He was.
Scan the QR code on your screen now, like it's 2026, not 1989.
And the QR code is that thing in the corner.
That little thing there. Get your phone out and do that. And we're asking you, would you support President Trump taking further military action? Get in touch, let us know. We're going to bring those results shortly.
Yeah.
Now,
and tell us if there's a particularly weak leader you think he could topple. If you put this
Get on with it. Anna Riley's waiting. Get on with it.
It's very cold out there, so we're going to go and talk to Anna Riley, who's in Scarborough, snow-laden,
sorry, Anna.
Snow-stricken.
She's freezing waiting for us, Anna.
She's wrapped up warm. She's got her thermals on.
I am. I'll swap jobs with you both. I'll be in the studio today and keep you nice and warm. Good morning to you both, Bev and Andrew. You can see here Scarborough has been blanketed in snow. You can see the sand here, even got a dusting of it. It's not putting off the dog walkers. We can see here as well the dogs enjoying it, and children, of course, as well. Hundreds of schools have been shut because of the weather today. So children that aren't at school today, we've also seen out enjoying the snow, and that comes as we've got 2 snow warnings across the north of Scotland. There's a snow alert in place that brings an amber weather warning. And across other parts of the UK as well, there's a yellow weather warning in place for snow and ice. Here in Yorkshire, that alert is in place until 11 o'clock tomorrow, so more snow expected here. Freezing temperatures as well. It certainly does feel cold, and with that, that's brought travel disruption across the UK. We know that John Lennon Airport in Liverpool has grounded many flights. The runway is currently closed there due to the wintry weather conditions, with some flights being cancelled or delayed. It's also had an impact on the roads. We can see here that gritters have been going out along these roads to try and keep people moving, but in more rural areas where the gritters can't get out, that has blocked people in their homes and made places impassable in certain areas around the North York Moors, certainly. Last time we were covering the snow, we were near Filey, and we saw farmers out in their tractors as well, helping cars get up roads that were stuck. So yeah, travel disruption has been brought as a result, and there's also an amber alert in place as well from the Health and Security Agency until Friday as well.
Right, Anna, thank you so much. Do you know what? I bet people have been swimming in that sea this morning.
I bet they have.
People love an icy swim these days. Have they, Anna?
Yes, we saw them. We saw a couple of ladies that did brave the weather, definitely.
Really?
Were they ladies, can I say, of a certain vintage?
Big-bosomed ladies in swimsuits in cold water. They are fabulous. The kind of women that could run the world with a teapot and a clipboard. Am I right, Anna?
Definitely, yeah. That's always that seaside scene, isn't it, as well? The lady in the swimsuit as well. I know exactly what you mean.
The great British,
Amazing.
Great British
Thank
spirit.
you, Anna.
Now it's time for our Great British giveaway. You could have £85,000 on us.
So much money.
So much money. It's equivalent, really, to more than £7,000 a month extra to spend each month tax-free. Hayley Spouts has got all the details.
It's a brand new year and we're giving you the chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. £85,000 in tax-free cash to make your new year the best yet. And we've come to the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland to celebrate. Imagine what the coming year could look like for you with a whopping £85,000 in the bank. You can have the complete Lapland experience all in one place by visiting the Northern Lights Village. Or just safe in the knowledge that this year is on us. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Right, there's a really great story in the paper this morning about the fact that Starmer said if you kick me out, you're basically going to hand the election to Nigel Farage.
Great incentive then for Labour to kick him out.
And talking of people being kicked out, the leader of Man United has been kicked out as well. We're going to talk to Claire Muldoon and Matthew Torbett about that.
What do they
any
know
minute.
about
There they are, look.
What do they know about it?
Ginning up on their football knowledge. Oh, Matthew Torbett. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Bev. Now we're joined in the studio by Matthew Talbot and Claire Muldoon. Guys, can we talk about this ousting me would be a gift for Farage? Prime Minister tells his rivals, Claire.
I mean, as Andrew teased beforehand, let's do it. I mean, let's get rid of Starmer, not for any other reason, in my view, to get Farage in. But come on, he needs ousting. And I don't think he's going to last 6 months.
No,
I don't think Rachel Reeves will be lasting 6 months either. I think everything is in disarray at number 10 and number 11 at the moment. They can't add up, they can't deliver, they can't lead, they can't communicate. What can they do?
No, I agree.
But what does that actually look like? Because it's not as easy to get rid of a Labour leader as it is a Conservative, is it, Matthew?
No, and I think that this is the issue. First of all, I think it's a bad message to put out to Labour MPs because you're not saying I can go and lead and do great things. You've said in the past, what about the markets? What about Farage? What about you? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, this is look at where we are. You're minus 66% approval rating.
Sign of how weak he is.
Well, that's exactly it. Now, May seems the most opportune moment because it would make electoral sense to go, yeah, no, this is
We've got
terminal.
key elections in Wales and Scotland, which this government is incapable of cancelling even if it wanted to.
Yes.
Having cancelled many other elections.
I'd have thought so.
Because they're devolved.
I do, however, foresee a situation, I hope I'm wrong, that he doesn't just last the year, he lasts the term. Purely through incompetence, through lack of organisation of other MPs, or, to put it quite bluntly, MPs having the conkers to be able to take him on. And as we well know, as Shakespeare would say, he who wields the knife very rarely wears the crown, and that therefore it's very difficult. So I could totally foresee it. I hope not, and I hope we do see a change. But it does show a real lack of vision if you're going, but what about the other guy?
But he's also saying today as well that we can see a shift of this Labour government taking us closer to the EU, which is basically sticking two fingers up to one and two of us that actually voted for Brexit.
Yeah.
I mean, the optic is shocking.
And many of those, Claire, in what we call the red wall seats, which Boris won with his pledge to get Brexit done. The Tories didn't get Brexit done and they made a mess of it. Labour won those seats back, but reform is breathing down Labour's necks in those seats.
We've said all along, it's not going to be the Conservative blue that's going to win the red wall or win the working class of this country. It's the reform blue. And we've seen it. It's happened. It's happening.
Yeah.
And what about that EU embrace, Matthew? I've forgotten the name of the Labour MP who wrote a piece in the Mail on Sunday yesterday, a Red Wall MP, saying, do not do this.
Dan Carden in Liverpool.
A Liverpool MP, and he was just saying this would be surrender, betrayal. Is that view widely held amongst Labour MPs?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I think the argument the party would likely make is that, or the gamble they're taking is, with lots of polling, you see people either say that they regret voting Brexit or they think it's been handled or done badly. They're hoping that they can tie that to Farage and blame the state of the country on Nigel Farage because of Brexit. I think the argument they may wish to make is, and cards on the table as a sort of reluctant Remainer, thought both sides were very poorly ran and gave very bad arguments, is we're not joining the EU again. This is not cancelling the referendum. I always thought a useful compromise I would have favoured would have been an EEA where you get the financial benefits, but you have left the framework. We voted to leave the framework which was on the ballot paper. We didn't vote to leave the single market. And people will argue about, yes, people said this, people said that, but that wasn't actually on the ballot paper. It was not having elections, not having MEPs, not having votes there, etc. And that's the framework that we're leaving. Whether it be... The thing that I struggle with, though, even as a Labour person that voted Remain, is there is no mandate for this. This is yet another thing, popular or unpopular, that was not in the manifesto, and it worries me that we're continuing down a path of all parties in many ways that have been in charge, where you just decide to do things on a whim and you've not got that mandate from the public to do that.
There might be the case as well, given what's happened geopolitically in America and South America at the moment, that Starmer might use this as a framework to get through. We're stronger together in Europe, to face what's going forward. And I hope and trust in God that's not the case, because I don't believe that we are.
I think he's also worrying about the Lib Dem vote, the Green Party doing particularly well at his expense in some polls ahead of Labour.
And we're streeting. This is something West Streeting has floated as a clear leadership nudge.
To get closer to the European Union.
Exactly, and I think this is going, maybe we'll do that with me, you don't need to get Wes in, and that will be a part of it, I think.
Can I just ask you both, it wasn't necessarily on a list this morning, but I do think it's what people will be thinking about this year, is about the state of the economy, particularly small businesses. We had a woman in earlier talking about the fact that it's never been so pessimistic among
Georgina
small
Bristol
businesses.
from the Jobs Foundation.
And I thought the bit that struck me, Claire, Primark, one of the absolute staples of high streets, is closing its first store in 10 years, with more to follow. What's your prediction for 2026 when it comes to our high street?
I think a lot of the high street chains of restaurants will disappear as well. People will then, it's the middle that are being squeezed. So your pizza chains, your TGI Fridays, all of that kind of ilk that traditionally you might have left work early, you thought, oh, I'll grab a pizza. Or you got children, come on, we'll go out for supper tonight. Let's make it, easy and whatever. And that, what you'll find is people will stay at home, they'll save up, and then do a luxury experience or a luxury meal maybe once a month. Nail bars will be next to go, because people won't have the cash to go in and maintain some standards that they want to have. There's so many other things that's going to happen. 60% of GDP is made by small and medium businesses in this country.
Do you think any of those Turkish barbershops will go, or will they continue to proliferate?
Well, as long as there's a business model to maintain that, then there will be.
Baffling number in where I live.
Claire,
Baffling.
Matthew, so good to see you
And
both
you
this
too.
morning. Lovely to see you.
Welcome home.
Thank you, my love. Right, first of all, your 60-second news update now with Sophia Hill.
Very good morning. These are the latest headlines just after 11:30. Well, breaking in the last hour, Ruben Amorim has been sacked by Manchester United. The news comes just 24 hours after the 40-year-old took aim at the club's hierarchy following their 1-1 draw with Leeds on Sunday. Elsewhere, Sir Keir Starmer faces a revolt as MPs demand that he condemns the US's attack on Venezuela. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has issued a stark warning to Venezuela's interim leader, urging her to comply with his wishes. The Prime Minister is also making a direct pitch to voters today, promising to ease the cost of living squeeze and insisting that families will start to feel real change under Labour in 2026. Border powers toughen as new laws on phone grabbing take effect. From today, officers can seize mobile phones and SIM cards from migrants without making an arrest, aiming to crack down on people smuggling behind channel crossings. And wrap up warm and take care as the winter snap takes over Britain. Hundreds of schools have been shut and flights cancelled as weather warnings remain in force, with snow bringing much disruption. Those are the headlines for now. More on those stories at the top of the hour.
Up at noon, good afternoon, Britain, with Tom and Nana this afternoon. Hi, guys.
Nice quiet start to the year, isn't it?
It is.
Not much going on around the world here at home.
Just a bit of a Trump take over the world. Let's do it. Why not? Let's give it a go.
Yes.
Good to see you, Beverly, as well.
Thank
nice
you.
To see
It's
you.
lovely to be back.
You're wearing my favourite colour, green.
One morning only.
Speaking of green, there's a land that is known as green.
Exactly.
It's
See
not
what I did
particularly
there?
green. It's rather covered in snow and ice. But if we're to believe that the Monroe Doctrine is back, this is America's sphere of influence extending across North and South America and right up to the Arctic Circle, as Donald Trump called it over the weekend, the Don-Roe Doctrine.
Yeah.
Then America does genuinely believe that it could exert control or at least significant influence over all of the countries stretching down from the tip of Argentina up to the tip of Greenland. What could go on there?
Well, there's a couple of things it needs to consider. The OPEC countries, obviously, they're not going to be very happy with that because they have the dominance of oil right now. Donald Trump then takes Venezuela, then he is very, very powerful indeed.
Yeah.
And I had the pleasure of actually him being on my show when he did that whole speech, which I thought was fascinating.
Brilliant.
It really was fascinating.
What extraordinary. I mean, just jaw-dropping, isn't it, this stuff?
Although what a lot of people aren't picking up on is just how significant Marco Rubio has been in all of this.
We were talking about this earlier.
He's the one that whenever people say to President Trump, oh, well, JD Vance will be the next president, he always says, I think Marco does a good job too.
Yeah.
So watch him, because I think
He's
if
done
he had a
brilliantly,
perfect... Marco Rubio is outstanding.
The control that Marco Rubio has asserted over the State Department, more so than any Secretary of State since Henry Kissinger.
Yeah.
One of the arguments that I've been reading about this recently is that he's not just the Secretary of State of the US, he's also the National Security Advisor.
Yeah.
He's also been given half a dozen other different portfolios.
Yeah.
And for the first time, for a very, very long time, you actually have a figure there who doesn't just sort of sit in his siloed position, but actually, because he's been given authority over lots of different areas by the president, he's been able to be a lot more effective of a Secretary of State. Because before, you'd have to get sign-off from all different people across the sort of deep state, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Being able to have many different hats on at the same time perhaps has enabled more kinetic
We've
action.
heard a word from JD Vance over this weekend.
No.
Because it's been the Donald and Rubio show, hasn't it?
Didn't he have his house burgled or something? Something happened to
Somebody
JD
smashed some
Vance.
windows.
Smashed some windows.
But he did sort of say, didn't he, about the fact that Maduro was a terrorist. Like he keeps making the point this was a criminal arrest. He's obviously been given that part to say, but right.
We should also say that we're hearing from the Prime Minister, because here at home the Prime Minister is on very, very thin ice. Rumblings in the Labour Party will he last the year?
Is there a common statement later, Tom?
Not from the Prime Minister.
From the Foreign Secretary? From anybody?
We're going to be hearing Home Office questions from the Home Secretary, and there will be a statement from the Foreign Secretary as well.
All that and more at midday. We're going to give you as well, in just a minute, all the details you're going to need to know before Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro appears in court today on drug trafficking charges. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Hello, welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Another cold one out there, and there are more snow showers to come in places. For the vast majority, though, today is just going to be a cold and sunny day. Why is it cold? Well, the air is coming down from the north. Weather systems are gathering out west, and they will start to bring a bit of a change over the next day or so. But for most, say, today is fine and sunny but chilly. We've still got some snow showers coming into West Wales, southwest England and eastern England, and snow showers continuing to feed in on that northerly wind across northern Scotland. So we do have Met Office yellow ice and snow warnings still in place. Temperatures getting above freezing for most areas, but not by much, and it certainly feels pretty chilly out there, especially if you've got the breeze, which will continue to feed some snow showers into eastern England, West Wales and northern Scotland overnight. Wherever we've got the showers, there's the potential for things to be really quite icy as temperatures very rapidly drop back below freezing. Not too many showers today for Northern Ireland, and we'll see more cloud and some sleety showers moving in here through the evening time. Still some snow showers coming into West Wales, southwest England as we head into the evening time too, and they'll continue through the night. At the same time, we are going to see some wet weather coming into western Scotland. Now, this will slowly start to lift the temperatures, but perhaps not quick enough to stop the snow coming in here and things, again, turning icy, pushing into parts of southern Scotland by the end of the night. Further south, it's generally going to be a dry night, and it will be another cold one with a widespread hard frost, which means, again, it could be icy for Tuesday morning's commute. And in this zone over northern England, southern Scotland, we may well wake up to a light covering of snow, and further snow then coming in during Tuesday across Scotland, whereas for England, Wales and Northern Ireland, we'll start to see, yes, a bit of hill snow, but some outbreaks of rain at lower levels. In the south, largely dry and sunny again, but still cold.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
It is 11:42. Miriam and I were just talking about our
Miriam and
knowledge of football. Sorry.
Miriam and I.
It says Miriam on the board. Look, it's on there, you see. They did it to confuse me. Bev and I were talking about our knowledge of football because, and it took us 32 seconds to discuss our knowledge of football because we don't have any. But talking of Beverly Turner, it is a rare treat to have her here in the studio with me, but you can get more of her from her on The Late Show Live tonight at midnight. So you're getting double bubble Beverly Turner. What's not to like about that? The Late Show Live, midnight tonight.
Obviously, I'm not hot-footing it back to DC today. I'm getting the kids back to school this week. I'm here in London Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Ben will be on air from DC on Thursday, and then I'll be back in America from Monday next week.
Now, back to that breaking news. The Manchester United coach, Rupert Amorim... Ruben. You don't get many Portuguese called Rupert, do you? Ruben Amorim has been sacked because he was disrespectful in a press conference.
That's right. Well, let's get reaction to that news now with football broadcaster Chris Scudder. Morning, Chris. Did you see this coming after he was rude about the board yesterday, over the weekend?
Yeah, pretty much. In-house politicking, too many cooks, basically. And when you disrespect a club as big as Manchester United, the writing's on the wall. I mean, the football's not been great, let's be honest. I mean, last year, Man United had their worst season for over half a century. It's been a bit better this year. But basically, there's the man, Ruben Amorim. He basically very outspoken yesterday, very prickly indeed. He's fallen out with the hierarchy, and he said, look, I'm the manager, not the coach here. In other words, I make all the decisions around here. I decide who plays, who we sign, all that kind of thing. But it doesn't work like that in football anymore. They hire head coaches for their ability to get players to produce their best. And often you get the sporting director, the director of football who sign the players, normally with agreement with the coach. But clearly he feels he should have been doing more and not being told what to do, and he's just got out and said, "Look, I'm the manager, not the head coach." And the tone was very aggressive. Everyone was taken aback, really, after the game against Leeds yesterday, and it's cost him his job this morning.
Little I know about football, Chris, but I do know Jim Ratcliffe, the billionaire who's made his money in lots of other ways. He bought a large stake of Manchester United, and of course, you assume if a billionaire piles in, there's going to be lots more money, but he's made lots of cutbacks to save money because that's why they're billionaires. Would he have been involved in the sacking of this bloke?
I'm not so sure, really. I mean, he would obviously have... I mean, it's a very complicated hierarchy at Manchester United. Ineos, who own Manchester United, he has a right-hand man called Dave Brailsford, who you'll be very, very aware of. He's the sporting director of Ineos, and then below that, you've got the director of football, Jason Wilcox. And just reading between the lines, I think the friction's probably between the director of football and Ruben Amorim. You know, about Amorim saying, don't tell me how to do this. You should get me better players. He hasn't got that, and and you get this friction. It's in-house politicking, and when that all falls apart, you've got trouble. Really interesting that the same thing happened at Chelsea the other day. Slightly different in that Enzo Maresca, who was sacked there, he had a fallout with the sporting directors there, but over different things, over his kind of rights and how he felt. He thought, I can move on to another club if I want. But basically, if you fall out with your bosses, you're going to lose your job, aren't you? That's the way it goes.
Bev Turner's dad is a great Man United fan, and he'd probably want me to ask this. Alex Ferguson, who I know was a legendary manager of Manchester United for many, many years, won many trophies, he wouldn't have put up with a football director. He was the boss, and that was it.
You're right. And, a lot of people feel the same way about this. If you are in charge, listen, let's break this down. If you're the boss, you say, I'd like to sign him because I think that's what we need. And if you don't see eye to eye with your director of football and they say, no, I think we need him, well, you're going to get trouble, aren't you? And, the fans see through it as well. So, it's a hierarchy problem, and... but it is the way the clubs are going. They feel that they need to have an input from above, and the coaches don't like it. They really don't like it. They feel as though they should make all the decisions. And I've got to be honest, I think they're right.
Am I right in thinking that Darren Fletcher, who's just taking over, at least in the interim, has got a couple of sons who play for Man United? He's got twin boys.
You caught me on that one, Beth. But Darren Fletcher's been there a while.
She's probably wrong.
Yeah.
They probably play for
Yeah, I mean,
Macclesfield.
he
Hang on.
old enough to
Why
have two
Man United
kids.
twins, Jack and Tyler Fletcher, play for different... He does, apparently. He does, see.
Okay, there you go. How old are they?
Very good.
He does. Well, apparently they play for... hang on a minute. Hold the line, caller. Jack Fletcher made his Premier League debut for Man United against Aston Villa. He's on the bench for the match against Newcastle alongside his brother Tyler. So Darren Fletcher is going to be in charge of a team where his two twin sons play for it. Nepo boys.
You know, that's it's a great policy. You look at, you mentioned, Andrew, you mentioned Sir Alex Ferguson there. What was his policy? His policy was get the kids in. You'll win nothing with kids was the great quote, wasn't it? And he proved them all wrong when he brought the class of '92, as it was, in. Nicky Butt and Beckham and Giggs and all those boys.
Scalzi.
It's the way to go. It really is. If you've got a good foundation, you don't need to sign all these stars on big money. Get it right in that department. It's all about structure. Man United have been chaotic for years now. And Jim Ratcliffe got all the money in the world, but, you know, there was a guy called Dan Ashworth.
Right,
Remember him from with England? He got sacked last year. Too many bosses, too many cooks.
Right, Chris.
Cheers,
Lovely to talk to you. That's a football broadcaster, Chris Scudder. Why don't they bring Aliston? What's he called? What did he call?
Alex Ferguson.
Alex Ferguson back. Is he too old?
I think he's... Is he not?
No, he's not dead.
Is he not dead?
No, he's definitely not dead.
Just
because you see,
at a moment
occasionally
there.
see a picture of him in the paper looking grumpy, with quite a red nose. Not saying anything.
Happy New Year, Alex Ferguson. You're an amazing football manager. Right, some breaking news. A man who has admitted dressing as a Navy Admiral without permission at a Remembrance Sunday event. Don't miss it.
That is apparent. It is a criminal offence, and we'll tell you what's happened.
I've missed this insanity.
Yeah,
Don't go anywhere.
This is Britain's Newsroom at GBNews.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. If you're after some warmer weather, Greece at the moment seeing temperatures above average. Still the risk of some showers across the Canary Islands at the moment and parts of Madeira. Perhaps southern Spain also seeing 1 or 2 showers, but generally some bright skies around. Heavier rain for parts of Italy on Tuesday. Could be thundery at times, and then the risk of some showers into Greece, but temperatures well above average for the time of year. And it remains so here for the next few days until eventually starting to cool down.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
I'm Michelle Dewberry. This is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here. GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word. And we've got some major breaking news. Sir Keir Starmer has spoken and said he stands with Denmark after Donald Trump apparently threatened to annex Greenland, adding that Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen was right to refuse the US president's claim to the territory. Our national reporter Charlie Peters brings us more. Well, Charlie, I wasn't sure he was going to talk about Denmark.
Our reaction
today.
to that probably wasn't the serious kind of reverential response that the Prime Minister might have been hoping for.
Well, the Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen, did issue a very serious statement overnight saying that the US has no right to annex any of the 3 nations of the Danish kingdom. That comes, of course, after the wife of Stephen Miller, a senior Trump aide, posted that photo on X of Greenland in the US flag with the caption, soon. The implication there that the US would take control over the Danish territory. Now, during a visit to a community centre in Berkshire this morning, the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, said, I stand with her, referring to Ms Frederiksen's strong language, and she's right about the future of Greenland. He also was asked if he agreed with calls from the Danish for the US President to stop making references to this proposed annexation of the island, and he said yes. He also added Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark are to decide the future of Greenland, and only Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark. He went on to say, well, you might say it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Katie Miller is a podcaster with a sense of humour, and she's put on social media a jokey tweet with a picture of Greenland with the stars and stripes on it saying soon. It is entirely the sense of humour of the White House social media department, which, as we see, does a lot of memes, a lot of tweets. She's got a new podcast out. She is married to one of Trump's closest advisors. But we're not meant to take it seriously. Keir Starmer's walked right into this trap of having no sense of humour.
Well, he has made comments about Greenland previously. JD Vance made a visit there last year, which was not necessarily the most well-received visit on the Danish side. And in those comments that the Prime Minister made this morning, he went on to say Denmark is a close ally in Europe, it is a NATO ally, and it's very important for the future of Greenland is, as I say, for the Kingdom of Denmark and for Greenland, and only for Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark. And, you know, well, Bev, you certainly have your view on this not being a serious imposition from the US. They clearly have great interests there. They have US forces widely deployed across Greenland. It's an important strategic location for them in the Arctic. And the Danish, they will know more than us, of course, about the diplomatic back channels, the efforts they're undertaking with their own intelligence agencies in response to the US. They clearly are very concerned in the language we've heard from the Prime Minister overnight.
I'd much rather hear what the Prime Minister really thinks about what's happened to Maduro.
Correct. I stand with Denmark. What a weak-willed, lily-livered statement. What does it even mean? What does that actually mean?
Yeah.
Does that mean that if Trump goes and invades Denmark, Greenland, which he's not going to do, listen, if I'm wrong, by all means tell me. I will be the first to hold my hands up and say, oh, I was wrong. Guess what? Trump went and invaded Greenland. He's not going to do that.
Greenland's part of a NATO
He's just not going to do that.
Denmark.
And so the idea that the Prime Minister's got, I stand with Denmark.
Well, it's an easy thing to say, isn't it?
pathetic.
It's easy, it's less contentious. You see, we've got a statement by the Foreign Secretary this afternoon, Charlie, where she will be, that will be pushed very hard on the government's position. They can't keep sitting on the fence about what happened.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to hear what she says, particularly under pressure on the Labour backbenches from plenty of lefty figures who have in the past signalled a lot of support for Maduro.
Yeah, including members of the Tribune group of Labour MPs, whose most prominent member is Angela Rayner.
Thank you, Charlie. I will be on Late Show Live at midnight tonight.
Lovely to have her back.
On GB News. Have a lovely day.
Hello from the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland. We're on an amazing Arctic adventure to celebrate our greatest cash giveaway, a simply stunning £85,000.
And in 2026, we're giving you the chance to win it all.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 12 o'clock on the 5th of January. I'm Tom Harwood.
And I'm Nana Akwe.